Chapter 581. This young man is actually wanted by the Vine Sovereign? All the Void Refinement Realm experts present were stunned. Their eyes were filled with surprise. Even though they had never seen Ning Fan's arrest warrant with their own eyes, they had more or less heard some rumors about him. Today, the matter of Liu Bei offending the Vine Sovereign was getting more and more serious in the tree world. According to rumors, among the subordinates that the Vine Sovereign sent to kill Liu Bei, 4 Absolute Void stage experts were confirmed dead and 1 Void Fragmentation Realm expert went missing mysteriously. Many people suspected that the disappearance of this Void Fragmentation Realm expert was caused by Liu Bei. For a time, Liu Bei's name gradually spread in the tree world. Even some Absolute Void stage cultivators did not dare to underestimate him. Old Ancestor. I'm afraid this person is Liu Bei. I've seen his arrest warrant before. This person's appearance is exactly the same as him. He has the strength to kill Absolute Void stage experts. We shouldn't offend him. We must think about the matter of annihilating Ming Luo. The Void Refinement Realm expert who exclaimed just now was a member of the Snow Pine clan. He was at the Void Glimpse stage. The reason why he spoke now was to persuade the old ancestor to keep the peace. The 3 grand voids of the Snow Pine clan shouted angrily. Nonsense. This young man is just a void inquiry stage cultivator. How can he kill an absolute void stage expert? This young man is certainly not the Liu Bei that the Vine Sovereign wants. There's no need to say anything more. Today, we will definitely annihilate Ming Luo. No one can stop us. Among the 3 grand voids, the one in green robes stepped forward and glared at Ning Fan. His name was Ao Long. His strength ranked 2nd among the grand voids. Junior. Return Ao Wang's primordial spirit to me and I can take you as my slave and spare your life. Don't try to resist me. With your mere void inquiry stage cultivation base, you are just like an ant in the eyes of absolute void stage cultivators like me. I can destroy you with a lift of my finger. Ning Fan's sword sense had killed 300,000 gold core realm cultivators. His abilities were strange and he instantly killed the Void Pierce stage patriarch of the Snow Pine clan, Ao Wang. Ning Fan's hurried gaze seemed to contain boundless killing intent. In Ao Long's eyes, Ning Fan was just a Void Inquiry stage ant whose strength was comparable to a Void Pierce stage expert. As an old ancestor of the Great Void stage, he naturally had his pride. How would he put a nobody like Ning Fan in his eyes? When the cultivators of the 4 clans saw Ao Long personally coming forward to confront Ning Fan, each of them calmed down. The panic that was caused by Ning Fan's sudden appearance had already subsided. The members of the Ming Luo clan raised their heads. When they saw Ning Fan facing the army of the 4 races alone, they were filled with admiration, gratitude and worry. The eyes of the 6 priests were solemn. In order to protect the glory of their ancestors, they were willing to risk the destruction of their entire clan and fight to the death against the cultivators of the 4 clans. However, Ning Fan was just an outsider. He was a friend who came to protect the Nether Luo clan under the request of the last tree sovereign. Now that the Nether Rakshasa clan had encountered a great calamity, there was no reason for them to send their friends to their deaths. The 6 priests did not think that Ning Fan could face the experts of the 4 clans alone. After all, there were 6 grand void stage experts in the 4 clans. Even if Guiyuan Taishu were to encounter such a lineup, he would also have to retreat. Qing Dai bit her lips with her pearly white teeth. She had witnessed Ning Fan killing the Guiyuan Tree King in the Tang Valley with her own eyes. She naturally knew how strong Ning Fan was. It was just that the 4 races of the Snow Pine clan had sent out too many people, and their combat strength was superimposed. It was obvious that they were even more difficult to deal with than the returning Essence Tree King. Qing Dai was also a little worried. Ning Fan was not a match for the cultivators of the 4 clans. Her eyes flashed with determination. She decided to do her best to help Ning Fan fight against the strong enemies together. At this moment, Ning Fan's irresistible order resounded across the entire Si Luo city. With my order, the entire Si Luo city will immediately activate the Grand Formation and form a defensive formation. No one is allowed to leave the city to fight. I alone am enough for this battle. Ning Fan was not being conceited. Instead, he was confident. With his current cultivation base and Ting Xianrou, it would be a piece of cake for him to annihilate the 4 clans alone. He already had a good impression of the Ming Luo clan. He did not want the low-grade cultivators of the clan to get involved in this battle and lose their lives in vain. He was entrusted by the Ming Luo tree spirit to protect the Ming Luo clan. With him here today, the 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan must be annihilated. His order went into the ears of Qing Dai and the 6 priests. The 7 of them showed signs of struggle. They wanted to help Ning Fan, but they did not dare to disobey his order. The low-grade members of the clan did not know, but they did. Ning Fan was the current Ming Luo tree sovereign. The members of the Ming Luo clan could not disobey his words. Activate the Grand Formation. Priest Su Luo sighed and ordered his clansmen to activate the defensive Grand Formation of Si Luo City. Qing Dai clenched her fists tightly and stared at the night sky reluctantly. She had never hated herself for being weak. If she was a little stronger, she would not have been forced to stay in the city by Ning Fan, and she would have been able to fight alongside him. Now, she was just a burden to Ning Fan in a battle of this level. Seeing that the Grand Formation of Si Luo City was activated, Ning Fan's last trace of worry also disappeared. Even though the Ming Luo clan had declined, the Grand Formation that protected the clan was set up by the first tree sovereign and strengthened by generations of tree sovereigns. Now, the power of the formation was greatly reduced. However, it would not be easy for even the returning Origin Great Void stage to invade the city. Ning Fan could go all out and start a massacre on this very night. He almost ignored old ancestor Ao Long's threat. He casually sealed Ao Wang's primordial spirit and kept it in his storage pouch. Without even looking at Ao Long, he took a step forward. His white robes suddenly turned black. His long hair danced wildly in the night sky. He raised a finger and pointed at old ancestor Ao Long from afar. He had dual cultivated with Ting Xianrou in his sea of consciousness, and his divine sense was infinitely close to returning to the Great Void. At this moment, he had transformed into a Psyche soul incarnation. His cultivation was already infinitely close to the returning to essence Great Void without the need to use the soul extraction technique. It was comparable to the strength he had when he killed the returning to essence Tree King. This finger was a fusion of sword sense and rain will, which he had learned from Ting Xianrou's sword sense. Ting Xianrou was a sword cultivation genius. In order to strengthen the power of her sword sense, she fused her concept power into her sword sense. Ning Fan's sword sense was not weak and his rain intent was even stronger. Just his rain intent alone could melt a void inquiry stage cultivator. As he pointed with his finger, the sword perception immediately turned into a sky blue color. It was as if it was indifferent. Under the moonlight, it suddenly spread out above the sea of bamboo. The combination of the will of rain and the sword sense was the rain sword. The million rain swords swept across the night sky towards old ancestor Ao Long. In an instant, old ancestor Ao Long turned pale with fright. Impossible. This young man was still at the void inquiry stage just a moment ago. How did his cultivation base reach the return of primordial void stage in just an instant? This kid's sword will is so strong. Ao Kong, Ao Mia. Help me quickly. Even though old ancestor Ao Long was shocked, he did not panic. While retreating rapidly, he waved his hand and summoned a golden book. The pages of the golden book flipped in the wind. Countless golden runic characters spread out from the book and collided with Ning Fan's million rain sword. After he asked for help, the other 2 great voids from Xuesong sect also stepped forward to help old ancestor Ao Long out of shock. Old ancestor Ao Kong waved his hand and summoned a purple banner which contained 400 million souls. With a hand seal, the 400 million souls flew out from the banner and condensed into a gigantic great void stage ghost in the night sky. Then, he raised his hand and punched at the million rain sword. Old ancestor Aomya opened his mouth and spat out a ray of silver cold light. It was a cold light divine ability of the peak mortal void stage called the primordial snow ray. A trace of this snow ray could freeze an unrivaled void pierce stage cultivator to death. The three great void stage experts attacked at the same time. All of their divine abilities collided with the Million Rain Sword. A deafening explosion resounded through the night sky. The Million Rain Sword was completely shattered. Cracks appeared on the golden book. The gigantic Great Void stage ghost was forcefully dispersed and the primordial snow ray was shattered by the Million Rain Sword. The three Great Void stage experts barely managed to block the attack from Ning Fan's Million Rain Sword. However, all of them coughed out a mouthful of blood and each of them took 100 steps back in the vast sky. Ning Fan, on the other hand, still wore a calm expression. The difference in strength between the two of them was obvious. Today, Ning Fan was able to repel three Great Void stage experts with a single attack just by summoning his Sense Soul incarnation without using any of his trump cards. Seeing that the three Great Void stage experts from Si Luo City were still in a disadvantageous position after attacking Ning Fan at the same time, be it the members of the Ming Luo clan in Si Luo City or the cultivators of the Snow Pine clan and the other three clans, all of them turned pale with fright. No one expected that Ning Fan was actually such a strong expert. An ordinary Great Void stage expert could not fight against him at all. He's definitely Liu Bei. He's definitely him. Only a cultivator with this kind of strength could kill the four Great Void stage subordinates of the Vine Sovereign. Only then would he be able to carry out a sinister plot and cause Palace Lord Ziteng's whereabouts to be unknown. The Void Glimpse stage cultivator of the Snow Pine clan who exclaimed in surprise earlier exclaimed once again. The three old ancestors of the Snow Pine clan hurriedly consumed some pills to stabilize their injuries. Then, they exchanged glances with the three Great Void stage experts from the other three clans. All of them could see the fear in each other's eyes. Ning Fan was strong. Extremely strong. If they knew that the Ming Luo clan would invite such a level of help, the four clans would definitely not have made the plan to massacre the Ming Luo clan so recklessly. Now, however, since the four clans had already invaded the Ming Luo clan and completely shed all pretenses of cordiality with the Ming Luo clan, it was certainly impossible for both sides to stop and make peace. Judging from Ning Fan's expression, he did not look like a person who would let things go peacefully. Now, our four clans are in a difficult position. The only thing we can do is to gather everyone's strength and work together to eliminate this young man. If we can kill him, the remaining members of the Ming Luo clan will no longer be a threat. If we can't, our four clans will certainly be massacred by him. Let's attack together and kill this young man. Old Ancestor Shi Zhan of the Stone Tree clan, Old Ancestor Lei Tong of the Thunder Cypress clan and Old Ancestor Qiao Gong of the Divine Xiao clan all had resolute looks in their eyes. They took a step forward and stood beside the three old ancestors of the Snow Pine clan. 6 Great Void stage experts joined hands while there were still 700,000 low-grade clansmen standing in a formation beside them. Moreover, there were also 23 Void Refinement Realm experts launching a sneak attack. Putting aside the fact that Ning Fan's cultivation base was only close to the primordial returning Great Void stage, even if Ning Fan was a true primordial returning Great Void stage cultivator, it would still be difficult for him to fight against 4 enemies with 2 fists. He would not be able to withstand the joint attacks of the cultivators of the 4 clans. The 700,000 cultivators of the 4 races lined up in the night sky and took out their array flags, forming a huge 4-colored array formation under their feet. All of a sudden, a gigantic 4-colored hand reached out from the formation diagram and threw a punch at Ning Fan. The power of that punch was comparable to an absolute void stage attack. 11 Void Glimpse stage experts, 7 Void Inquiry stage experts and 5 Void Pierce stage experts each activated their strongest trump cards, launching attacks at Ning Fan from all directions. The 6 Great Virtual Realm cultivators used all their trump cards. Their divine abilities lit up the night sky. With everyone attacking together, even Guiyuan Taishu would have to retreat. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with cold light. His 5 fingers reached out to the ground and the hollow space respectively, pulling out the Earth Soul and Void Soul and swallowing them. He didn't need to retreat. Now that he had unleashed his full strength, his battle prowess was above that of an ordinary origin returning great void cultivator. His aura force surged like raging waves. His black robes fluttered like thunder in the wind. At this moment, his aura force broke through the Guiyuan Taishu realm. Moreover, his magic power was 30% stronger than ordinary Guiyuan Taishu realm cultivators. How is this possible? The 6 great virtual void stage experts were shocked. At this moment, Ning Fan displayed his divine ability. He formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and a gigantic fire diagram appeared under his feet. Suddenly, millions of black fiery butterflies appeared in the night sky and danced in the night sky. The millions of fiery butterflies merged into one, forming a gigantic fiery butterfly with a pair of wings that covered the sky. Its wings were like clouds that covered the sky. Its breath was like the fire that could burn the heavens. Its eyes that could resist samsara ignored immortals and mortals. It was not even afraid of immortal emperors. Void Flame Realm. Ning Fan changed his hand seals and the fiery butterfly flapped its wings. Black flames and smoke swept across the vast sky. With a single move, all the divine abilities of the cultivators of the 4 races were destroyed by the butterfly flames. With the first wave, 700,000 cultivators were burned to ashes. All 11 Void Glimpse stage experts died. With the second wave, 7 Void Inquiry stage experts were burned to ashes before they could even react. With the third wave, 5 Void Inquiry stage experts screamed in agony. All of them lost their lives. With the fourth wave, 6 Void Inquiry stage experts could not even escape from their demon souls and primordial spirits. All of them were buried under the butterfly flames. The fourth wave was enough to severely injure the primordial returning Tree King. How could an ordinary Void Inquiry stage expert withstand it? Today, Ning Fan's spirit sense had improved tremendously. His strength had increased tremendously and his comprehension of the void had also improved tremendously. With his current strength, he would at most be weakened for a period of time after displaying the fourth wave of the butterfly flames. He would no longer suffer any injuries from the backlash. If his cultivation base improves further, he would be able to display the 5th wave of the butterfly flames. By then, he would certainly be invincible in the primordial returning Great Void stage. With the first move of the void flame, the butterfly flames burned the sky. All the cultivators of the 4 races were turned into ashes. Thick layers of corpse ashes fell from the sky, covering the ground of Si Luo City. The scene was extremely terrifying. None of the 320,000 members of the Ming Luo City dared to speak loudly. At this moment, Ning Fan's powerful figure was firmly reflected in the eyes of all the members of the Ming Luo City. This figure was exactly the same as the previous Ming Luo Tree Sovereigns. Each generation of Tree Sovereigns was a peerless expert who fought against the world alone. Big Brother Lu is so powerful, so powerful. Qing Dai secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Then, her eyes lit up. Initially, she was worried that Ning Fan would be in a tough battle when he fought against the cultivators of the 4 races alone. Now, it seemed like her worries were unnecessary. In the Si Luo Bamboo Sea, the thickest Xiang Fei bamboo in the dense forest echoed softly with a melancholic voice of praise. Is he the person that Mu Luo invited to protect the Ming Luo clan? His back view is really similar to Mu Luo's. In the past, Mu Luo also dominated the tree world all by himself. He fought against 10,000 enemies and swept across the 4 seas of trees. In the night sky, Ning Fan felt a little weak. With a flick of his sleeve, he kept all the spoils of war that filled the sky into his pouch. Under the 4th wave of the butterfly flames, the storage pouches of many fallen cultivators were destroyed. Those that were not destroyed were all taken away by Ning Fan. After killing so many cultivators, countless Dao fruits naturally formed. Ning Fan also took them away one by one. He even got a void refinement realm Dao fruit. Later on, he prepared to lead the members of the Ming Luo clan to massacre the four races. After this night, the four races would no longer exist in the Azure Cold Country. As for Ning Fan, he would probably have no choice but to become infamous in the Eastern Tree Sea. Ning Fan did not descend to the ground immediately. He was also not in a hurry to disperse his incarnation and soul-extracting ability. Suddenly, his eyes darkened and he looked at a dark cloud in the night sky. Who are you? You have been hiding here for a long time. Are you going to massacre the Ming Luo clan with the cultivators of the four races? Killing intent flashed across Ning Fan's eyes. Immediately, a muffled groan came from behind the dark cloud. Then, an old monster who was infinitely close to the returning origin Great Void Realm staggered and revealed himself. He wore purple robes and his wrinkled face was filled with a bitter smile. As soon as he appeared, he immediately cupped his fists at Ning Fan and said, I am the old ancestor of the Wei Zi clan, Wei Feng. I came here today with no ill intentions. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand, there were two reasons why old ancestor Wei Feng came here. Firstly, he had always been at odds with the Snow Pine clan. Tonight, he wanted to cause trouble and ruin the plan of the four races to massacre the Ming Luo clan. If he really could not prevent the Ming Luo clan from being annihilated, it would be a good thing if he could sneak an attack on the old ancestor of the Snow Pine clan and injure one or two Shuasong Taishu experts. Secondly, he was requested by the Baili clan's leader to give Ning Fan an item. Oh. So it's old ancestor Wei Feng of the Wei Zi clan. I've heard a lot about you. After knowing the identity of the person who came, the hostility in Ning Fan's eyes gradually faded. He had already heard from the great elder of the Qin Nan clan that the Wei Zi clan and the Snow Pine clan did not get along. Today, the reason why the old ancestor of the Wei Zi clan came to the thought-sifting bamboo sea was probably not because of the Ming Luo clan but the Snow Pine clan. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Even though Ning Fan did not treat old ancestor Wei Feng as a friend, there was no need for him to treat him as an enemy. Fellow Taoist Lu, you must be joking. This old man has been admiring you for a long time. I received news that the Snow Pine clan will gather the forces of the four races to massacre the Ming Luo clan tonight. That's why I'm hiding here. I want to save some of the Ming Luo clan's members at the crucial moment. It can also be considered as a kind gesture to the Ming Luo clan. Of course, I also have another purpose in coming here. I was asked by someone to give fellow Taoist an item. Old ancestor Wei Feng's words sounded nice but Ning Fan naturally would not believe all of them. After hearing that old ancestor Wei Feng was asked to give him something, Ning Fan's eyes flashed slightly. As soon as old ancestor Wei Feng finished speaking, he took out a jade box from his storage pouch and flicked it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan took the jade box. When he saw the item inside, his eyes narrowed slightly. He took out the item and scanned through its contents. His eyes became even more solemn. Fellow Taoist, may I ask what is the meaning of this item? It was a letter of challenge. It was a letter of challenge from the Baili clan. Chapter 582. Ancestor Wei Feng had only come to deliver something on behalf of the Baili clan. He had no idea that the item he was delivering was a battle invitation. As soon as ancestor Wei Feng heard that the item in the jade box was actually a duel invitation from the Baili clan, he revealed a look of surprise and hurriedly explained, please don't misunderstand, fellow Taoist. This old man has some friendship with the Baili clan. That's why I sent the jade box to them. I didn't know that there was a dual invitation in it. He cursed the entire Baili tribe in his heart, thinking that the Baili tribe was cheating him. In the tree realm, war invitations were usually only given to enemies who were irreconcilable enemies. Once the letter of challenge was issued, life and death would be decided. Since the Baili clan had issued a battle invitation to Ning Fan, they naturally harbored the intention to kill him. Moreover, they did not even try to conceal it. If your Baili tribe wants to deal with someone, then why did you send Wei Feng to deliver the challenge? If Ning Fan becomes displeased with this invitation, he, Wei Feng, would directly become the scapegoat of the Bai Li clan and would have to bear Ning Fan's wrath. If old ancestor Wei Feng didn't know Ning Fan's true strength in the past, he wouldn't be afraid of him. However, on this night, old ancestor Wei Feng witnessed Ning Fan annihilating the cultivators of the 4 clans with his own eyes. That terrifying butterfly flame caused old ancestor Wei Feng's heart to palpitate as a chill seeped into his bones. The combat power that Ning Fan displayed was much stronger than an ordinary primordial returning void stage expert. After knowing Ning Fan's true strength, old ancestor Wei Feng would never dare to offend him. He hurriedly explained, trying his best to draw a clear line between himself and the Bai Li clan. He did not want Ning Fan to hate him along with the Bai Li clan. Seeing that Wei Feng did not seem to know anything about the duel invitation, Ning Fan asked him a few more questions. All of them were related to the Bai Li clan. In order to express his goodwill to Ning Fan, Wei Feng naturally told him everything he knew. After some discussion, Ning Fan waved his hand, signaling Wei Feng to leave. Wei Feng was the Great Void Patriarch after all. Who would dare to order him around on a normal day? Now that Ning Fan asked him to leave, he immediately cupped his fists and bade farewell as if he had just been pardoned. He was unwilling to stay any longer in this troublesome place. After Wei Feng left, Ning Fan stared at the battle invitation in his hand with a gloomy expression. Bai Li clan, what is the meaning of this? There was only one word in the letter. It was the word die written in blood ink. It contained boundless killing intent, as if it would not stop until it killed Ning Fan. This letter of challenge was personally issued by the Bai Li tribe leader. Since the Bai Li clan sent this invitation, it seemed like they wanted to openly tell him that they wanted to kill him. From the looks of it, the Bai Li clan was extremely arrogant. They wanted to kill someone and they even told that person that they were going to kill that person without concealing their killing intent. Ning Fan knitted his brows. Is the Bai Li clan really just trying to show off by sending someone to deliver the letter of challenge? Or could it be that this letter of challenge was a warning to Ning Fan not to help the Fusang clan compete for the position of the 8th elder? There must be a reason for the Bai Li clan to harbor killing intent against him. He had never interacted with the Bai Li tribe, so he could only think of 2 reasons why the Bai Li tribe hated him. Firstly, the Bai Li clan had somehow found out that old demon Fusang had been looking for him. Secondly, it was possible that old demon Fusang purposely spread the news to make the Bai Li clan view him as an enemy, forcing him to accept the recommendation to participate in the election of the 8th elder. Secondly, the Bai Li clan and the Ming Luo clan had an old grudge against each other. When they found out about the relationship between him and the Ming Luo clan, they wanted to kill him. Both of these reasons made sense, but there was still something suspicious about the matter of the Bai Li clan purposely sending the letter of challenge. Why did the Bai Li clan ask the Wei Zi clan to send me a letter of challenge? It seems like they are hinting at something. The Bai Li clan is the strongest person below the void fragmentation realm in the Eastern Tree Sea. I asked Wei Feng about his personality. According to him, he is cold-blooded. If he hates someone, he will never show mercy and kill without hesitation. Moreover, he is a decisive person and never has the habit of sending a letter of challenge in advance. He isn't an arrogant and brainless person. If he wants to kill me, he wouldn't send a letter of challenge on purpose. Ning Fan kept the letter of challenge in the jade box with a solemn expression. Perhaps the Bai Li clan leader sent me a letter of challenge on a whim and the reason he wants to kill me could be one of the 2 reasons. Perhaps, there's more to this matter. No matter what, since the Bai Li clan has sent the letter of challenge, it will be difficult for me to avoid the battle between me and them. I have to go to the bamboo hall eventually. At that time, I will certainly have to fight the Bai Li clan. Before I fight the Bai Li clan, my spiritual puppets must be repaired and my cultivation base must be improved to be safe. If an ordinary cultivator received a letter of challenge all of a sudden, they would either be fearful or angry. Ning Fan, however, thought about it a little more. He could sense the strange qi that this matter was giving off and became vigilant. He temporarily put the matter of the Bai Li clan behind him. He patted his storage pouch and took out 30 gigantic ships. All of them were the treasures that he had obtained from killing people in the past. Members of the Ming Luo clan, listen to my command. Follow me to fight Han Sung and annihilate the 4 clans. Ning Fan was going to lead the 320,000 members of the Ming Luo clan to annihilate the 4 clans, including the Snow Pine clan. At the same time, he was going to plunder all the resources that the 4 clans had accumulated for countless years and use the resources of the 4 great void forces for him to improve his cultivation base alone. As soon as they heard Ning Fan's command, countless members of the Ming Luo clan felt their blood boiling. They turned into rays of light and flew to the ships. They had been bullied and humiliated for a long time. Even though they did not resist, it did not mean that they did not hate them. In the past, when the Snow Pine clan invaded the country, they killed Mother Qing Dai, who was still the high priest, and countless members of the Ming Luo clan. The members of the Ming Luo clan had never forgotten this grudge. Now that the Ming Luo clan had Ning Fan's support, who in the entire Azure Cold Country would dare to offend the Ming Luo clan? The 30 ships that carried the 320,000 members of the Ming Luo clan left during the night and returned the next day. When everyone returned, the Snow Pine clan, the Lei Bai clan, the Stone Tree clan and the Divine Xiao clan were completely annihilated. The news spread in the Azure Cold Country overnight. The entire country fell into a state of panic. Liu Bei, who was being chased by the Vine Sovereign, was actually protecting the Ming Luo clan in the Azure Cold Country. The 4 great void forces that intended to massacre the Ming Luo clan were annihilated by Liu Bei alone in a single night. 30 void refinement realm cultivators from the 4 clans, including 6 great void stage cultivators, had all died in Liu Bei's hands. Countless forces spread the news to each other with deep fear. Quickly inform all the cultivators of the clan. Right now, the situation is very tense. If there is no need, do not leave the clan. Even if you have to leave the clan, you must never provoke the Ming Luo clan. The Ming Luo clan is no longer a second-rate tree clan that can be bullied by anyone. The 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan were the ancient tree clans of the Azure Cold Country. Their foundation was unfathomable. After destroying the lairs of the 4 clans, the spoils of war that Ning Fan obtained were extremely shocking. Heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures, pills, cultivation methods, secret techniques and spiritual puppets were all there. There were 6 void glimpse stage spiritual puppets and 3 void inquiry stage spiritual puppets. Ning Fan gave all of them to Qing Dai to protect the Ming Luo clan. To him, most of the low-grade items were already useless. Thus, he left them all for the Ming Luo clan. He took away 220 billion immortal jade, 12,000 Dao crystals, 9 void refinement realm Dao fruits, 1 void fragmentation realm Dao fruit and 42 types of 6th revolution pill recipes that were unique to the tree world. All the pills that could improve the magic power of the void inquiry stage and the golden body, as well as spiritual herbs that were 50,000 years and above, were also taken away by Ning Fan. Each of the mid-grade 6th revolution serene grass pill could increase a void inquiry stage cultivator's magic power by 2,000 units. There were a total of 20 bottles with 10 pills in each bottle. The high-grade 6th revolution divine bamboo pill could increase a void pierce stage cultivator's magic power by 10,000 units. There were a total of 12 bottles with 10 pills in each bottle. The high-grade 6th revolution azure bone pill could greatly improve a 3rd-level golden body refinement realm body cultivator's cultivation base. There were a total of 5 bottles with 10 pills in each bottle. A barbaric dragon tree and 9 barbaric dragon fruits. This barbaric dragon tree was the greatest treasure of the Snow Pine clan. This tree blooms once every 500 years and bears fruit once every 500 years. Each time, it could bear 12 barbaric dragon fruits. Each of the barbaric dragon fruits could greatly improve a body refinement realm body cultivator's cultivation base at the golden body refinement realm. According to Ning Fan's estimation, devouring a barbaric dragon fruit could increase 100,000 units of essence chi at least. If he were to recklessly waste this precious treasure, devouring the entire barbaric dragon tree could directly increase his essence chi by 1 million units. The last time the barbaric dragon tree bore fruit was about 100 years ago. There were still 900 years before the next time it bore fruit. Ning Fan did not have time to wait for the tree to bear fruit again. He had already decided to refine this tree along with its roots. According to his estimation, with the resources of the four great void forces, it was more than enough for him to break through to the void pierce stage and late reckless devil realm. As for breaking through to the absolute void realm, he still lacked a lot of magic power. Thus, he decided not to think about it for the time being. This time, he had established his prestige in the Azure Cold Country. Presumably, no one in the country would dare to offend the underworld Luo clan anymore. He had already decided to go to the Bamboo Palace and find the ancestral tree fruit to break through to the first grade divine intent. However, before he leaves, he needed to repair his spiritual puppets and break through to the void pierce stage. Time flew by. Half a month had passed. Ning Fan entered the Yuanya world alone and sat inside the dark golden pagoda. He used immortal jade, spiritual ores and spiritual materials to make mortal void realm formation discs in preparation for his tribulation. As for Qing Dai, after she had settled the miscellaneous affairs of the underworld Luo clan, she quietly left Si Luo City to search for the last 12 types of materials to repair his spiritual puppets for Ning Fan. She wanted to look for her master who was hiding in the Si Luo Bamboo Sea. Ning Fan did not monitor Qing Dai nor did he plan to pry into her master's secrets. Half a month in the outside world was equivalent to 5 years in the 7th floor of the pagoda. During these 5 years, Ning Fan had spent more than 200 billion immortal jade to make 500 mortal void realm formation discs. Among them, nearly 100 formation discs were the high-grade mortal void realm formation discs which could withstand the lightning tribulation, heavenly fire lightning defense formation. There were also nearly 100 formation discs which were the high-grade mortal void realm formation discs which could withstand the fire tribulation, profound ice fire defense formation. The remaining 300 formation discs were the peak mortal void realm formation discs which could withstand the wind tribulation, divine dipper wind destruction formation. The heavenly tribulations below the void fragmentation realm were divided into 3 forms: lightning tribulation, fire tribulation, and wind tribulation. Ning Fan possessed the steel of sun and moon and had condensed the Tai Su lightning star. Thus, he was not afraid of the lightning tribulation and fire tribulation. As for the wind tribulation, it was the most powerless. The Yin wind tribulation that the Pill Sovereign summoned the other day made Ning Fan personally experience how terrifying the Yin wind tribulation was. He strongly suspected that the heavenly tribulation that would befall him this time would be the Yin wind tribulation. Therefore, most of the formation discs were set up to defend against the Yin wind tribulation. Other than that, he had also spent a lot of time to forge a magic treasure which could withstand the tribulation, one stripe wind calming bead. The materials used to forge the wind calming bead were obtained from the layers of the 4 great forces of the Great Void Realm. The wind calming bead was a kind of magic treasure that could only be used once. Its materials were very rare and precious. It was greatly helpful in resisting the Yin wind tribulation and was sought after by many void fragmentation old monsters. The lowest air frozen bead had 1 pattern and the highest had 9 patterns. The 1-stripe wind stabilizing pearl could greatly offset the Yin wind tribulation of a cultivator at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was worth more than 50 billion. A 2-striped wind calming bead was extremely rare. Even Ning Fan couldn't find the materials to refine it. It was said that in the Earth Immortal realm of the 9 realms, a 3-stripe air-frozen bead had been auctioned off, causing countless old monsters to fight over it. In the end, the 3 stripes frozen wind pearl was bought by a void fragmentation realm expert of the mountain world for 310 billion immortal jade. As a result, the moment that void fragmentation realm expert of the mountain world left the auction house, he was besieged and killed by a few void fragmentation realm experts. His 3 stripes wind stabilizing bead was then taken away. Ning Fan took a deep breath. In order to transcend the tribulation this time, he had made thorough preparations. Even if he really encountered the Yin wind tribulation, he was confident that he could survive it. All he needed to do now was to wait for Qing Dai to bring back the materials to repair the two Void Fragmentation Realm spiritual puppets. Ring ring ring, in the storage bag, a light green sound transmission tablet emitted a clear sound. It was a common type of sound transmission magical treasure in the tree world. Ning Fan took out the sound transmission tablet and made a few hand seals. Immediately, Qing Dai's mellow voice sounded like pearls falling on a jade plate. Big Brother Lu, I have found the last 12 types of materials for the spiritual puppets. But what? Ning Fan asked with a smile. But I have hidden one thing from you. Actually, I have a master. These materials were all given to me by my master. That. On the other end of the sound transmission tablet, Qing Dai's voice was hesitant like a child who had done something wrong. That. My master wants to meet you. She said that she wants to ask you for a favor. If you can help her complete this task, she will give you a great opportunity. Oh? Your master wants to meet me? Fine, I also want to see what kind of expert is able to teach such an outstanding puppet master like you. Ning Fan kept the sound transmission tablet and kept all the formation discs into his storage pouch. With a flash, he left the Yuanya world. In the outside world, outside Si Luo City, Qing Dai had just kept the sound transmission tablet. At the next moment, a breeze brushed past her and Ning Fan's white-robed figure appeared. Let's go. Take me to see your master. Chapter 583. At dusk, the night breeze blew through the bamboo forest, and the bamboo leaves rustled. The sun fell between the mountains and rivers, revealing only a fragment of its afterglow. Qing Dai led the way at the front while Ning Fan followed behind her at a slow pace. He didn't ask any questions about Master Qing Dai. He just felt the faint longing and sadness in the bamboo forest. When he first entered the thought-sifting bamboo sea, he did not pay attention to Xiang Feizhu. Now that he was stepping into the depths of the bamboo sea, he could feel that each of the Lady Xiang bamboo here was filled with a trace of sorrow. From time to time, Qing Dai would move forward in small steps. Sometimes, she would transform into a beam of light and travel thousands of miles. Ning Fan followed closely behind her. Gradually, they were already 1 million li away from Si Luo City. The Xiang Fei bamboos here were obviously much thicker than those in other places. Occasionally, there would be 1 or 2 Xiang Fei bamboos that contained a very faint bamboo divine intent. The deeper he went, the more Xiang Fei bamboos that contained the divine will of bamboo. This was a bamboo forest that was rarely visited by people. The ground was piled with thick bamboo leaves. In the deepest part of the bamboo forest stood a gigantic Xiang Fei bamboo. Qing Dai stopped in front of the gigantic bamboo while Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. From this giant bamboo, he felt a heavy sense of oppression. The divine intent of bamboo contained within this giant bamboo was unimaginably vast, and it was absolutely a first-grade bamboo intent. Under this boundless bamboo intent, Ning Fan felt as if his body was about to be assimilated and turned into a Xiang Fei bamboo. A dark gold snowy light flashed in his eyes as he urged the power of the memory concept to resist the pressure of the first-grade bamboo intent. Junior Liu Bei greets Senior. Ning Fan cupped his fists at the gigantic bamboo. He could tell that the divine intent of bamboo was just unconsciously given out by the gigantic bamboo. It did not have any malicious intent. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to resist the first-grade bamboo intent of the giant bamboo even if his memory intent realm had reached the second step because he did not have a deep understanding of the memory intent realm. Since Qing Dai brought him to see this giant bamboo, it was very likely that this giant bamboo was Qing Dai's master. Second step concept. That's right. I'm Qing Dai's master. Qing, you go back first. I have something to say to Liu Bei. Yes. Qing Dai didn't dare to disobey her master's order. She bowed to the giant bamboo and left. Before she left, she secretly sent a voice transmission to Ning Fan. Big Brother Liu, she is my master. My master is a good person. You don't have to be afraid. She won't make things difficult for you, trust me. Qing Dai turned into a rainbow and returned to see Luo City. After Qing Dai left, a layer of faint green light suddenly appeared on the giant bamboo. Within the green light, a beautiful woman in green with a slightly illusory figure walked out from the giant bamboo. She looked to be in her 30s. Her appearance was mature and beautiful. Her brows were clear and cold, and there was a hint of majesty hidden within. She was dressed in a green silk dress, and her hair was coiled up high with a green jade hairpin inserted into her hair bun. Her aura was oppressive, and there was even a faint imperial aura flowing within her body. Her bamboo will was even more powerful. However, she did not have a trace of magic power in her body. Her entire body was nothing more than an illusory remnant soul. It was as if his soul would dissipate at any moment. I'm Yu Huang. I asked Qing to find you because I want to ask you about Mu Luo's whereabouts. Secluded bamboo. Ning Fan's expression visibly changed. Obviously, he had heard of this name before from the Ming Luo tree spirit. The Ming Luo tree spirit once wanted to ask Ning Fan to look for Yu Huang. However, he did not finish his sentence and just let out a long sigh. As for Mu Luo, it was the name of the Ming Luo tree spirit. The tree spirit had also told Ning Fan about this. Even though Ning Fan did not know the relationship between Yu Huang and Mu Luo, he could vaguely guess that Yu Huang was an extremely important person to Mu Luo. Perhaps, this woman was the love of Mu Luo's life. Has he mentioned me to you before? Is he still well? Is he really still alive? Yu Huang's expression was as calm as still water. All of her facial expressions had been dried by the wind of time. However, under those calm words, there was a longing that could not be erased by life and death. Longing for Mu Luo. Ning Fan was vaguely sure that Yu Huang and Mu Luo were a couple without a doubt. He once heard that the sea of bamboo appeared after Mu Luo went missing. He could imagine that after Mu Luo went missing, Yu Huang must have been waiting for him at this place day after day until he died. Mu Luo turned into an old tree. That was the tree transformation technique that he created himself. It was a heaven-defying divine ability of immortality. Yu Huang turned into a sea of bamboos. The sea of bamboos was born because of her bamboo intent. It was infused with all of her longing. However, this divine ability was not the transformation of a tree. Yu Huang didn't know about the heaven-defying divine ability of tree transformation. She had already died during the long wait. The remnant soul in front of him was the last trace of her fragrant soul that was attached to the Xiang Fei bamboo. It had no magic power or divine ability. All she had was her longing for him day after day. Mu Luo was old and Yu Huang was dead. As for this trace of Yu Huang's remnant soul, it had already lost the possibility of entering the reincarnation cycle because of her stubbornness in staying in this world. She couldn't leave this sea of bamboos. Once she leaves, this last trace of her remnant soul would vanish. Senior Mu Luo is very good, but he can't leave the rain world. He's trapped in the rain world while I'm a cultivator of the rain world. Ning Fan sighed slightly and told her everything about how he met Mu Luo in detail. Yu Huang listened quietly. Her eyes were as calm as still water, as if nothing could disturb her mood. However, her trembling hands that were hidden in her sleeves had betrayed her true feelings. She was very excited. When she heard from Ning Fan that Mu Luo was still alive, she couldn't help but feel excited. It was just that when she heard that Mu Luo couldn't leave the Dark Sparrow's grave for the rest of his life and his incarnation could only move around Yu country. Yu Huang's eyes were finally filled with sorrow. It was as if all her faith and hope had collapsed at this moment. Is he not coming back? I've turned into a xiu bamboo here and waited for him in the wind and rain for 2 million years, just to see him again, but in the end, I can't see him anymore. My remnant soul can't leave the sea of bamboos in this life. His old body can't leave the Dark Sparrow's grave in this life. We'll never meet again. The most beautiful thing in the world is to have a pair of lovers in one generation. The cruelest thing in the world is to miss each other but not to marry each other. Yu Huang closed her eyes painfully. She just wanted to see Mu Luo again. Why was it so difficult? The bamboos in the entire sea of bamboos began to wither and wither in the twilight. Yu Huang's remnant soul became more illusory and haggard because of sorrow. The hollow bamboo had a soul residing in it. The soul was rooted in the heart of the bamboo. The reason why the remnant soul could ignore the reincarnation and reside in the bamboo was because of its persistence. If the heart was sad, the bamboo would perish and the soul would die, happy to know each other again, sad not to be separated forever. My heart was like a bamboo, longing for you to return. My body had turned into the sea and you didn't know. That day, I closed my eyes in the fragrant mist of the bamboo palace and suddenly heard the mantra in your chanting. That month, I shook all the sutras, not to release souls from purgatory, but to touch your fingertips. That year, I turned into the everlasting sea of bamboos, not to have an audience with you, but to wait for the warmth of your late return. That life, I endured 2 million years of loneliness and abandoned the next life, just to see you again in this life. But we will never meet again in this life, but you owe me happiness. What can you use to make up for it? You still owe me a pot of wine and a promise. Gradually, Yu Huang calmed down her sorrow and regained her cold expression. She slowly opened her mouth and said, "Fellow Taoist, can you promise me a request? Don't tell Mu Luo that my remnant soul is still in this world." After hearing Yu Huang's request, Ning Fan was startled at first. Then, he seemed to have understood something and sighed softly. If Mu Luo could break free from the shackles of the dark sparrow's grave, if Mu Luo could turn back into a human from a tree, he could return to the tree world and reunite with Yu Huang, but it was too difficult. If Yu Huang wasn't a remnant soul, if she didn't attach her soul to the bamboo, she could also leave the tree world and head to the rain world to see Mu Luo again. Under normal circumstances, they would never meet again in this life. However, Ning Fan remembered that Mu Luo had once told him that if Mu Luo risked his life, he could burn his demon soul and leave the dark sparrow's grave in a short period of time. If Mu Luo knew that Yu Huang was waiting for him here, he would certainly risk his life to return to the tree world to meet her. Therefore, Yu Huang begged Ning Fan not to tell Mu Luo that her remnant soul was still alive. She was worried that Mu Luo would do something stupid. However, if she had to give up her life just to see Mu Luo once, she would definitely not hesitate to do so. "No, I want to tell Senior Mu Luo that the woman he loves is still alive. Although it's only a remnant soul, we can still stay together in this life." Ning Fan suddenly said. "What? You can't say that. If you say that, Mu Luo will surely." Yu Huang was shocked. Just as she was about to plead, Ning Fan waved his hand and said, "Senior Yu Huang doesn't need to worry. In fact, I have a way to let you meet Senior Ming Luo. It's a very safe way. No one will die." "Impossible. I can't leave the sea of bamboo and Mu Luo can't leave the dark sparrow's grave. We will never meet again." "No, there is a way. It's just that ordinary people can't think of it. Maybe they can think of it, but they can't do it." Ning Fan smiled faintly, took out the blood umbrella magical treasure and said, "I have a small kiliacosm spatial treasure here. If Senior is willing to leave the tree world, I can move the entire sea of Ming Luo bamboos within this spatial treasure and bring it back to the rain world." Of course, most people wouldn't think of using this kind of trick to dig away the sea of bamboos that the secluded bamboo had turned into, and even the land was taken away. Moreover, even if someone thought of this method, they wouldn't be able to move the entire sea of bamboo that covered an area of 4 million kilometers. Ordinary cultivators from the tree world couldn't even reach the rain world. An ordinary grotto heaven magic treasure would not be able to contain the 4 million miles of bamboo sea. Only a small kiliacosm cosmos treasure could contain the entire sifting bamboo sea. However, there were not many void fragmentation realm experts in the 9 worlds who possessed a small kiliacosm cosmos treasure. A small kiliacosm treasure contained a small kiliacosm. The realms of the 9 realms were only at the level of a small kiliacosm. Generally speaking, only the mighty figures of the 4 heavens would have a small kiliacosm treasure. It was already rare for a lower realm cultivator to have a damaged minor 1000 treasure. Yu Huang covered her red lips and stared at Ning Fan's blood umbrella in disbelief. She was certain that Ning Fan's blood umbrella magic treasure was a rare small kiliocosm cosmos treasure which contained a small kiliocosm. Ning Fan's method was feasible. However, if he wanted to take away all of the land within 4 million kilometers, he would need a lot of magic power and cultivation. Even a cultivator at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm would only be able to cast their techniques within 1 million li. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, even if he goes all out, he could at most collect 700,000 li of the Sea of Bamboo in one go. If he couldn't collect the 4 million miles of bamboo sea in one go, the remnant soul of the Yu Huang would definitely dissipate. In order to achieve a range of 4 million li, one must at least possess the cultivation base of the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan's method was indeed feasible. However, as of now, he could not take away the entire thought-sifting bamboo sea and he could not bring her to see Mu Luo. This method is very good, but your cultivation base isn't enough to move the entire sifting bamboo sea. But I can wait. When you break through to the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm one day, bring me to the rain world to see Mu Luo. Yu Huang sighed softly. With my cultivation, it is indeed not enough for me to collect the entire sifting bamboo sea in one go. However, if a large formation was set up and the power of the formation was used to cast spells, this problem could be easily solved. Senior Yu Huang can rest assured, I have full confidence in this matter. The only problem is that this formation covers an area of 4 million kilometers. It's too wide, so it's not suitable to set it up. Furthermore, the requirements for the formation were strict and there was no room for error. Therefore, if I want to perfectly set up the formation and cover the entire sifting bamboo sea, I will need a long time. When this formation is completed, I will use this umbrella to collect the entire sifting bamboo sea and bring it back to the rain world so that the two of you can reunite. This way, I can repay Senior Mu Luo's kindness in protecting my hometown. Ning Fan kept the blood umbrella and looked at the secluded bamboo with a faint smile. Yu Huang used to be the previous bamboo sovereign of the bamboo palace. He had a calm temperament. However, after hearing Ning Fan's plan, he could not help but feel a little happy. At first, when she heard that Mu Luo had gone missing, she only waited for a long time. 2 million years later, when she found out from Ning Fan that Mu Luo was still alive, she was extremely excited. She thought that the result she had been waiting for had finally arrived. However, when she heard that she would never be able to see Mu Luo again, she began to feel sad again. Now that Ning Fan had a way to bring her to Mu Luo, she was naturally very happy. After a brief moment of joy, she remembered that the reason why she asked Ning Fan to come here today was to bestow him a fortune. Mu Luo was a demon cultivator, while the underworld Sifter clan was a tree demon. Yu Huang, on the other hand, was a divine cultivator. She was almost the divine cultivator with the strongest bloodline in the history of the tree world. Coincidentally, the bamboo ancestor bestowed her with his blood which allowed her to condense half a drop of divine blood. She had a bright future ahead of her. However, for Mu Luo, she gave up some of her cultivation base, fortune, life and bloodline and turned into a sea of bamboo to wait for Mu Luo's return. She could no longer use any of her magic power. However, she had once possessed half a drop of the ancestral blood of an earth god after all. With the connection between the ancestral blood, she sensed a drop of ancestral blood that had yet to be refined from Ning Fan's body. It was the natal blood rain that the rain ancestor had bestowed upon him. If Ning Fan refines this blood rain and turns it into his divine blood, Yu Huang would not be able to sense it. Unfortunately, Ning Fan had yet to refine this blood rain. That was why she could barely sense it. The reason why I asked you to come here today was to give Mu Luo face. I wanted to help you refine the ancestral blood of the divine race. Now that you are willing to help me meet Mu Luo, I will certainly help you refine this blood to repay this kindness. Yu Huang's eyes were solemn and firm. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was slightly stunned. Before he came here, Qing Dai had told him that her master would bestow him some fortune. Even though Ning Fan was already mentally prepared, he did not expect that the fortune that Yu Huang would bestow upon him would actually help him refine the blood rain of the rain ancestor. If Ning Fan's rain intent breaks through to the first grade, he would be able to refine this drop of blood rain with his own ability. Currently, his rain intent had yet to reach the first grade. However, with Yu Huang's help, he would naturally be able to refine the blood rain. Ning Fan was busy preparing for breaking through to the void pierce stage. As soon as his spiritual puppets were repaired, he would begin to break through to the void pierce stage. Refining the blood rain was not part of his plan. If refining the blood rain was included in his plan, he did not know how much his cultivation base would increase. Perhaps, this time, he would not only be able to break through to the void pierce stage but also the absolute void stage in one go. If his cultivation base breaks through to the absolute void stage in one go, the other problem would no longer be a problem. With Ning Fan's absolute void stage cultivation base after breaking through, his magic power was almost infinitely close to the void fragmentation realm with the help of his incarnation and soul extracting technique. With this level of magic power, the difference in cultivation base between him and a void fragmentation realm spiritual puppet would not be too big. Thus, the lifespan consumed by using the life imprisoning technique would be greatly reduced. It would be fine if the heavenly tribulation does not appear this time. However, if it does appear, I wonder if I can break through to the absolute void stage in one go. Chapter 584. Breaking through to the void pierce stage was just around the corner. Within the 4 million li radius of the Sea Luo Bamboo Ocean, Ning Fan had determined that there were 50,000 formation eyes within it. There were 50,000 formation eyes, and if the formation was successfully set up, it would be a high-grade immortal void realm formation that covered the sifting bamboo sea. It was his first time setting up such a grand formation with his own hands. Fortunately, this immortal void realm formation was not used for defense, nor was it used to attack. It was only used to take away the sea of sifting bamboos. Moreover, there was no need to consider the number of times the formation could be used. As long as it was a one-time formation light, it was not difficult to set it up. After Ning Fan calculated the number of formation eyes, he was no longer in charge of setting up the formation. The entire Ming Luo Tree clan began to obey Ning Fan's order. They held the formation map drawn by Ning Fan and filled each of the formation eyes with 500,000 immortal jades. Ning Fan had spent a total of 25 billion immortal jade to set up this single-use grand formation. It was indeed a huge sum of money. The range of the formation was too wide, and even if all 320,000 underworld Raja clansmen were mobilized, they still spent an entire month to set up the entire grand formation. During this month, Qing Dai was in charge of repairing the puppets. Yu Huang's soul body was illusory and could only guide verbally. Her puppet skills were very exquisite and she was the best in the tree world when she was alive. With her guidance, Qing Dai's success rate in repairing the puppet increased a lot. Guang Hanzi, on the other hand, was in charge of refining several hundred types of puppet materials and doing some menial work to assist Qing Dai. After determining the formation eye, Ning Fan entered the dark golden pagoda of the Yuanya world to make some final preparations for breaking through to the void pierce stage. The first was to refine the void piercing pill and the void piercing pill to increase his chances of advancing to the next realm. The second method was to concoct a large number of void reinforcing pills. This was a type of high-grade 6th revolution pill. It had the medicinal effect of stabilizing the void pierce stage. For cultivators who had just broken through to the void pierce stage, apart from those who possessed a heaven-defying physique, they would usually need tens of years of seclusion to stabilize their cultivation base. If one were to take a void strengthening pill, he would be able to reduce 20 years of hard work in seclusion. If he consumed 3 void reinforcing pills, he could directly stabilize his void pierce stage cultivation realm. Of course, the void strengthening pill also had a certain effect on stabilizing the great void realm, but the effect was greatly reduced. He was not confident that he would be able to break through to the absolute void stage in one go this time. However, he still decided to refine the void pill and a sufficient amount of void-strengthening pills in case of emergency. 1 month in the outside world was 10 years in the 7th level of the pagoda. During these 10 years, he had repeatedly concocted the high-grade 6th revolution void-bursting pill and void-fortifying pill. His pill refinement mastery was infinitely close to the upper grade 6th revolution. He also received the Pill Sovereign's guidance for the 2nd time and observed the entire process of the Pill Sovereign breaking through to the 7th revolution. Although he did not deliberately absorb the Pill Sovereign's soul power of heaven and earth, it still improved the quality of his medicine soul imperceptibly. He only needed an opportunity to break through to the high-grade 6th revolution pill refinement realm. Even so, Ning Fan's success rate in concocting high-grade 6th revolution pills was only 1%. Fortunately, Ning Fan had plundered a large amount of spiritual herbs from the 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan. After failing more than 40 times, he finally managed to refine the first void-piercing pill. The void-pierce pill was a high-grade 6th revolution pill. It could increase one's comprehension of the void-pierce stage and increase one's chances of breaking through to the void-pierce stage. It was highly sought after by countless Void Inquiry stage and Void Pierce stage old monsters. After concocting this Void Pierce pill, Ning Fan's pill refinement mastery naturally achieved a breakthrough and advanced to the high-grade 6th revolution. After his pill refinement realm improved, Ning Fan began to concoct a large number of void consolidating pills. His success rate had already reached 20%. After 84 times of concocting the void-reinforcing pills, he managed to concoct a total of 22 pills. After he finished concocting this batch of pills, Ning Fan's success rate in concocting high-grade 6th revolution pills had already reached 40%. He had already prepared the void-bursting pill and void-fortifying pill. Now, he only lacked the last void pill. The void pill was a peak grade 6th revolution pill. Normally, only peak grade 6th revolution pill refinement masters could concoct it. Ning Fan decided to use the Great Advancement technique to concoct this void pill. What he used was the Blood Revolution technique of the Great Advancement technique. The Blood Revolution technique required a cultivator's primordial spirit to concoct the pill. In total, Ning Fan had 2 primordial spirits of the primordial returning Tree Kings and the Patriarch of the Snow Pine clan. He could attempt to concoct the void pill 3 times in total. He only needed to concoct the void pill to the high-grade 6th revolution. After that, he would use his primordial spirit to concoct the pill successfully. In order to concoct a high-grade 6th revolution pill, he would at least need to integrate the primordial spirit of an absolute void stage cultivator into the pill. The level of the primordial spirits of the 2 Tree Kings was sufficient, but the primordial spirit of the Patriarch of the Snow Pine clan was only at the Void Pierce stage, which was slightly insufficient. Ning Fan sighed. If he had known that the Yu Huang could help him refine the blood of the Rain ancestor, he would certainly have captured the primordial spirits of the 6 absolute void stage cultivators when he was exterminating the cultivators of the 4 clans. Fortunately, the success rate of concocting a high-grade 6th revolution pill was 40%. Even if the success rate of one of the 3 attempts was slightly lower, he would still most likely succeed. After 3 attempts, Ning Fan finally obtained an void pill. After preparing all the pills, Ning Fan began to regulate his breath and magic power, restoring his condition to its peak. On the 10th year of the pagoda, Ning Fan received a message from Qing Dai's sound token. Big Brother Lu. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. The meaning of Qing Dai's words could not be more obvious. She had successfully repaired 2 void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. Ning Fan's body swayed and returned to the outside world. He took the 2 spiritual puppets Xi Hua and Xi Dian from Qing Dai. Then, he stayed under the giant bamboo with the Yu Huang. Half a month passed by just like that. Half a month later, he left the Sea of Si Luo bamboo. Stepping on the ancient golden sword, he flew eastward for 10 consecutive days. He flew past more than 100 cultivation countries and eventually flew out of the border of Xiu country, arriving at the Azure Sea at the easternmost part of the tree world. There was no longer a piece of land or a single tree in this place. As far as his eyes could see, all he could see were green ocean waves that stretched as far as the eyes could see. The sky was filled with white clouds. In the depths of the ocean floated numerous islands that could not melt. On the islands stood numerous snow-capped mountains. The azure sea had long clouds and dark snow-capped mountains. This place was the sea region. It was not suitable for the cultivators of the tree world to cultivate. Thus, it was rare for anyone to come here. After flying for a few days in the sea region, he chose the most barren island in the middle of the ocean and landed on it. He took out 500 mortal void realm formation discs and laid out 500 layers of mortal void realm formation lights on the island. Green ocean waves slapped against the shore. The sound of the waves was intense. Ning Fan stood in the world of ice and snow. His eyes were filled with the intent of rain. From now on, this island would be the place where he would undergo his tribulation. Under the giant bamboo, I have borrowed Senior Yu Huang's first-grade bamboo intent to refine the natal blood rain for half a month. This rain has yet to be completely refined. If I refine it, it will at least increase my magic power by 1 million units. Ning Fan's body swayed and he entered the profound Yin world. He wanted to refine the natal blood rain and all the heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures that he had in his possession. The first thing he needed to refine was the natal blood rain that the rain ancestor had given him. In the profound Yin world, a crescent moon that was half black and half white hung high in the sky. Under the gray moonlight, Ning Fan sat cross-legged in the vast sky of the profound Yin world, refining the natal blood rain in his body. Luo Yu walked out of the thatched hut and carefully guarded him while giving him advice. The strength of the rain ancestor's bloodline is not as strong as Fu Li and Mo Luo. Even if you refine this drop of natal blood rain, you might not be able to condense an entire drop of ancestral blood of the divine race. In my opinion, you can only condense half a drop of ancestral blood at most. Since you have half a drop of ancestral blood, your divine bloodline isn't really at the ancestral level. It can only be considered as the royal bloodline. Royal bloodline, huh? That's enough. Ning Fan did not look down on royal bloodline. Even in the four heavens, there were definitely not many people whose divine bloodline had reached the royal bloodline. All of them were the gods of the royal bloodline of the various divine races. It was already very difficult for someone to obtain a divine bloodline from nothing to reach the royal bloodline in one go. If he really wants to break through to the level of the ancestral bloodline, he could just find a way in the future. He focused his mind and closed his primordial spirit. His body was surrounded by the heavenly green third-grade rain intent and he began to refine the natal blood rain. As the natal blood rain was being refined bit by bit, his magic power began to increase rapidly. 9. 2 million units. 9. 21 million units. 9. 22 million units. When the natal blood rain was completely refined, Ning Fan's magic power finally reached 10. 2 million units. It was 200,000 units more than the 10 million units required to break through to the void pierce stage. However, every time he refined a trace of the natal blood rain, some of the heavenly green rain intent would turn into fine needles and pierce into his heart. At first, the pain was still within his bearable range. However, as he absorbed more and more of the blood rain, more and more of the rain intent turned into needles and pierced his heart. The pain in his heart began to intensify. The pain began to spread and gradually spread to his limbs and bones. In the end, even his primordial spirit was entangled by the intense pain. This degree of pain was certainly not enough to make Ning Fan let out a groan. However, when the natal blood rain was completely refined, Ning Fan's face already looked a little pale. Obviously, it was caused by the heart-wrenching pain. What happened? Luo Yu noticed the paleness on Ning Fan's face and asked with concern. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's just a sudden heart-wrenching pain. However, why would this heart-wrenching pain appear all of a sudden? Ning Fan's brows were tightly knitted together. His aura contained a dignified aura force of the divine race. That aura force was extremely heavy, as if a deity of a royal clan above the four heavens had descended. It's strange. It's extremely strange. This pain appeared out of nowhere. Ning Fan had refined the Fu Li ancestral blood and Mo Luo ancestral blood before. However, he had never thought that the rain intent would turn into needles and the heart-wrenching pain would occur. He looked inside his body and was shocked all of a sudden. Under the piercing of countless rain intent needles, his flesh and blood were filled with wounds. These wounds were not enough to surprise Ning Fan. What surprised him was the change that happened to his heart. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart no longer had the color of blood. Instead, it had turned into a heavenly green color. The heavenly green color was the color of the rain intent. On his heart, there were countless wounds that were dripping with blood. All of them were caused by the rain intent just now. After Ning Fan consumed a healing pill and summoned his natal black star to heal himself, the wounds on his body healed rapidly. His complexion gradually returned to normal. However, there was still a tiny aperture on his heart that could not be healed. There was only one explanation for the fact that the aperture could not be healed. The extra aperture was not an injury. Within those orifices, there was an endless rain intent. Even though the aperture was small, after it was opened, it increased the flow of Ning Fan's magic power by more than 5%. Before Ning Fan could think about it carefully, he suddenly felt an unimaginable tearing pain coming from his heart. Inside the aperture on his heart, the rain intent realm suddenly turned into a violent whirlpool. As the rain intent rotated, the aperture on his heart was gradually expanding. Hiss. Even with Ning Fan's strong willpower, he could not help but suck in a cold breath because of the tearing pain. After the intense pain, the heavenly green rain intent in his body suddenly went berserk. At this moment, layers of illusions appeared in front of Ning Fan's eyes. He closed his eyes. All of his consciousness was pulled into the whirlpool of the rain intent. In the world of his consciousness, Ning Fan was dressed in white robes. He was standing in a bamboo city that was filled with the fragrance of wine. Inside the bamboo city, Ning Fan's clothes were wet from the drizzle. He was standing outside a tavern. Inside the tavern, there were many customers who were drinking. Among the customers, there was a black-robed young man who was drinking alone. The scene in front of him was so familiar. Ning Fan immediately realized that he had seen everything here in the illusory realm of the first stage of the ruling Sky City. It was the illusory realm where he was drinking with the Rain Ancestor. The black-robed young man who was drinking alone was the Rain Ancestor. When the black-robed young man noticed Ning Fan's appearance, he was stunned at first. Then, he looked at Ning Fan from head to toe. Immediately, his eyes became extremely strange. "You're early." "I'm early. The rain intent hasn't even reached the first grade. Why am I already here?" The black-robed young man looked at Ning Fan with a strange expression. "I'm early. What do you mean?" Ning Fan was stunned. The reason why he appeared in this illusory realm again was because something had happened while he was refining his natal blood rain. An extra aperture appeared in his heart out of nowhere. Could it be that everything was arranged by the Rain Ancestor? "What I mean is that you're really early. You should come after your rain intent reaches the first grade. With your third grade rain intent, the success rate of you opening the divine aperture isn't high. Don't tell me you really think that I gave you that drop of blood rain just so that you can condense the royal bloodline and divine blood? The natal blood rain that I gave you contains a profound secret. It took me millions of years to condense a single drop. If you possess the first grade rain intent and refine this drop of blood rain, you will have at least a 50% chance of opening the first divine aperture. There's a saying in the ancient divine clan, a heart with 3 apertures can transform into a heart source. A heart with 7 apertures can establish a heart realm. If you can open the first divine aperture, your cultivation speed will at least double. The medicinal effect of refining heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures to improve your magic power will also double. If you open the divine aperture, you will become an ancient god. What I gave you was a great opportunity to become an ancient god. How could you not cherish it? With your third-grade rain intent, the success rate of opening the first divine aperture is definitely less than 20%. The black-robed young man's words made Ning Fan reveal a bitter smile. He really did not know that this drop of blood rain from the rain ancestor contained so many profound secrets. Originally, he wanted to use the bamboo intent of the secluded bamboo to refine the natal blood rain. Now, it seemed like it was a bad move. Although the natal blood rain that the rain ancestor gave him could not help him condense the ancestral blood, it could help him open the divine aperture and become an ancient god. Even though he still did not know what a divine aperture was, he understood that his chance of becoming an ancient god had dropped from 50% to 20% because of his momentary mistake. It would be a lie to say that he did not feel heartache. However, Ning Fan did not have the time to think about all these. He just wanted to find a way to remedy it. A man's life could never be smooth sailing all the time. Instead of regretting his past failure, it was better to pursue success in the future. I really didn't know that the drop of blood rain that Senior gave me has such a magical effect. Senior, can you tell me the method to open the divine aperture and cultivate to become an ancient god? Even if there's only a 20% chance of success, I'm willing to risk everything and open the first divine aperture with all my might. Ning Fan's eyes were as calm as still water without any ripples. The opportunity to become an ancient god was originally a heaven-sent opportunity. However, things like opportunities could not be forced in the first place. Whether it was a 20% chance or a 50% chance, there was a huge chance of failure. Becoming an ancient god was never a foolproof thing. If I succeed, I'll be lucky. If I fail, I'll be doomed. If I fail, I won't be qualified to succeed. What Ning Fan wanted to do was to try his best to seize this opportunity. However, if he really could not seize the opportunity, he would have to give up the opportunity to become an ancient god this time and find a way to achieve the body of an ancient god in the future. The black-robed young man slowly rose to his feet and looked at Ning Fan with a faint smile. After a long time, he praised him. Not bad. What he praised was Ning Fan's steady temperament. Regardless of whether Ning Fan could become an ancient god today or not, his indifferent mental state was already enough to earn his praise. For the Rain world to have such a junior, the younger generation would really surpass us in time. If he could live in the same world as Ning Fan, perhaps the two of them could become strong rivals. The black-robed young man made a grabbing motion with his large hand. The fine rain that filled the sky was gathered into his hand and turned into a sky-green jade slip. Then, he tossed it to Ning Fan. In this jade slip, there's the cultivation method to open the first divine aperture of an ancient god. The ancient god clan uses the heart to prove the Tao and harmonize the laws with the heavens. The heart is the origin of all laws. If the heart dies, the laws will perish. When the divine aperture is opened in the heart, the laws will be harmonized with the heavens. A single aperture can allow one to become an ancient god, a 3-aperture ancient god can condense the heart origin, and a 7-aperture ancient god can transcend the mortal realm. In the era that I'm alive, I've never seen a 7-aperture ancient god, and I'm just a 6-aperture ancient god. Speaking of this, the black-robed young man's face showed a hint of reminiscence. I have a method that can increase the success rate of you opening the divine aperture to 100%. Do you dare to try it? He did not ask if Ning Fan was willing to try it or not. He only asked if Ning Fan dared to do it. This was because there were many people who were willing to increase the success rate of opening the divine aperture. However, there were only a few who dared to use it and could use it. Ning Fan could use this method, but he might not dare to use it. The Rain ancestor was not a person with heaven-defying aptitude. In other words, his aptitude was as ordinary as his appearance. It was like a drizzle that moistened everything silently and was not valued by others. However, he still cultivated to the immortal emperor realm with his obsession and took control of the Rain world, establishing himself as the ancestor. He had fused the power of the 3 races of gods, demons and devils by chance. Although it was easy to say that it was an opportunity, the bloody battle that it contained was not known to anyone. He did not rely on his aptitude to reach the peak step by step. It was just that he had endured more pain than the other geniuses of the same generation. Originally, his aptitude was not enough to open the divine aperture successfully. Thus, he could not become an ancient god and was once despised by his clan members. However, he forcefully thought of a ruthless method to increase the success rate of opening the divine aperture. This method was called the heart-severing technique. It required the power of demons and devils to create an illusory realm in one's heart and the power to lock one's spirit. Severing one's heart in the illusory realm could last for thousands of years. The illusory realm would only end when the heart aperture was severed. One would either sever the heart aperture or die from the pain in the illusory realm. Do you dare to try it? The black-robed young man made a grabbing motion with his large hand and formed a second jade slip. The jade slip contained the complete heart-severing technique, as well as some other information. When the Rain Ancestor was young, he severed his heart in the illusory realm for 100,000 years before he managed to open the first divine aperture. As for the Rain Ancestor, he endured the pain of having his heart severed for 100,000 years before he managed to open the first divine aperture. This kind of pain was not something an ordinary person could endure. Ning Fan carefully scanned the two jade slips with his spirit sense. After pondering for a while, he nodded and said, "This method is worth a try." Luo Yu had once cultivated the heart aperture technique and endured the pain of having her heart severed for 7,000 years. That was not the true divine aperture opening technique of the ancient gods. The pain that little Yu had endured before, he could endure it today. Chapter 585. The black-robed young man nodded in satisfaction when he saw Ning Fan nod his head. Ning Fan actually dared to try the heart-severing technique. Not bad. He praised Ning Fan for the last time and walked out of the tavern in silence. He walked along the small path outside the tavern, bathing in the drizzling rain as he walked further and further away. He was the Rain Ancestor, but in the end, he still died. He could only bestow opportunities to his descendants. As for whether they would succeed or fail, live or die, it was all fated and could not be forced. Naturally, he could not interfere. He came in the storm and left in the rain. Whence he came, whence he went. As for what kind of illustrious battle records the first ancestor you had, how he rose step by step from a nobody, in the end, no one knew. Ning Fan kept the jade slip and cupped his fists at the direction where ancestor Yu had left. He stood in the drizzling rain for a long time, filled with respect and gratitude. After the figure of the Rain Ancestor completely disappeared in the wind and rain, the scene of the illusion gradually changed. Ning Fan knew that his heart-severing technique was about to begin. His eyes revealed a dignified expression. He turned a deaf ear to the changing scenery around him and only focused on making hand seals. The first step of the severing heart technique requires the use of the demonic energy to seal the divine power. Ning Fan temporarily separated the three forces and turned them into the forces of the divine race, the demon race and the devil race again. Green, purple, and black mists suddenly appeared in the illusion. The mist dissipated, and three young men appeared in the illusion. The first youth was dressed in a green robe. His body was surrounded by an extremely strong will of rain, and three blood-colored stars flickered between his eyebrows. He was a royal divine cultivator, and his expression was benevolent and dignified. The second young man was donned in a purple robe and his body was shrouded in the purple radiance of the Fuli monster intent. Two purple stars flashed in his left eye. He was an ancestor-level monster cultivator with a devilish expression on his face. The third young man was dressed in a black robe, and a domineering demonic will of the mountains floated around him. The demonic intent of the mountain came from one of the 9 mountains that suppressed the demonic lord, Mo Luo. The black-robed youth had 2 black stars shining in his right eye. He was an ancestral blood devil cultivator, and his expression was arrogant and domineering. The 3 young men had different expressions but their appearances were the same. All of them were Ning Fan. These 3 young men were the forms that were materialized from the power of the 3 clans in Ning Fan's illusory realm in his mind. They had nothing to do with his clone abilities. There was a flash of light in the illusion. Countless purple and black chains suddenly appeared around the green-robed god cultivator, binding him tightly. A purple flying sword appeared in the hands of the purple-robed demonic cultivator. A giant black axe appeared in the black-robed demonic cultivator's hand. "Cut him down," the blue-clothed divine cultivator lightly said, unafraid. The next moment, the purple-robed demonic cultivator pointed with his finger and the flying sword in front of him transformed into a purple beam of light that pierced the chest of the green-robed divine cultivator, piercing his heart. The blue-clothed god cultivator frowned as if he was in great pain, but he didn't say anything. After a few breaths, a blue mist appeared in his chest, and his heart, which had been pierced by the sword light, slowly regenerated. When the purple-robed demon cultivator saw this, he changed his hand seal. Suddenly, millions of purple flying swords appeared in front of him and pierced towards the green-robed divine cultivator's chest. 1,000,000 swords, 2,000,000 swords, 3,000,000 swords. A year passed. The green-robed divine cultivator's face was extremely pale, but he still did not say a word. "It's been a year. It's your turn," the purple-robed demonic cultivator said to the black-robed demonic cultivator. The black-robed fiendish cultivator nodded. He waved his giant axe and chopped down at the green-robed divine cultivator's chest. Just a single chop contained unparalleled strength. Not only did it shatter the heart of the green-clothed divine cultivator, it even chopped his body into two. After a burst of blue mist, the green-clothed divine cultivator's broken body recovered, and his heart also recovered. The black-robed fiendish cultivator sneered and said, "It seems that the axe strike isn't painful enough. Let's do something new. Change." He pointed his finger, and the giant axe immediately turned into an iron-beaked black eagle, pouncing towards the green-clothed divine cultivator's chest. Its sharp iron claws easily tore open the green-clothed divine cultivator's chest. Its iron beak, which was as sharp as a sword, suddenly pecked at the green-clothed divine cultivator's beating heart under his ribs. The black eagle did not tear off the heart in one breath. Instead, it pecked at the green-clothed divine cultivator's heart with its beak. The green-clothed divine cultivator's heart kept growing, while the black eagle kept pecking at it. The second year passed. The young divine cultivator's face was even paler, but he was still alive. The black-robed fiendish cultivator's arrogant eyes revealed a tinge of admiration. It was the purple-robed demonic cultivator's turn to torture the green-clothed divine cultivator. The purple-robed demonic cultivator smiled evilly. "Attack his heart for 2 years consecutively. Let's change the place and change the taste. Let his heart rest for a year and enjoy some peace. The next year, when we attack, it will be even more painful." As soon as the purple-robed demonic cultivator finished speaking, he approached the green-clothed divine cultivator directly. He raised one hand and grabbed at the green-clothed divine cultivator's eyes, gouging them out. Then, he waved his hand casually, and a purple dagger appeared. It cut off the green-clothed divine cultivator's arm and thigh piece by piece, scraping the white bones, and blood splattered all over the ground. Not long after, the green-clothed divine cultivator's body recovered, while the purple-robed demonic cultivator revealed an evil smile again, and changed the method to torture the green-clothed divine cultivator. Just like that, the third year passed. Although the young divine cultivator did not make a sound from the beginning to the end, he finally could not bear the torturous torture anymore. The fourth year, the fifth year, the sixth year, year after year, there was no distinction between day and night in the illusion realm, and it was hard to distinguish between spring and autumn. 10 years passed, 100 years passed, 1,000 years passed. 7,000 years passed. In this year, the green-clothed divine cultivator's body was illusory, and it was almost dissipating. He could no longer bear any more torture from the other two. He finally understood how painful it was for Luo Yu to endure the pain of having her heart gouged out for 7,000 years. Little Yu Err, what exactly is she shouldering that made her hurt herself so desperately just to take revenge? The green-clothed divine cultivator was on the verge of death, as if he would die at any time. However, he gritted his teeth and said stubbornly to the purple-robed and black-robed demonic cultivator. Continue. The first divine aperture has yet to be opened. The purple-robed demonic cultivator and black-robed devil cultivator exchanged glances. They could see the hesitation in each other's eyes. The heart-severing technique had reached this stage, but it still could not open the divine aperture. There was really no need to continue. If it continues, the green-clothed divine cultivator would certainly die. No, it would be Ning Fan who would definitely die. However, once this illusion realm is activated, he would not be able to leave unless he opens the divine aperture. This was a method that could achieve a 100% success rate. It was enough to firmly open the first divine aperture. However, in order to achieve a 100% success rate, there must be a prerequisite, to stay alive until the moment when the divine aperture is opened. Continue. I won't die so easily. The green-clothed divine cultivator's eyes flashed with a hint of determination. The moment this determination appeared on his face, he suddenly had a mysterious feeling that he was one with the heavens. Countless green mists suddenly enveloped his body. Almost 80% of his injuries were healed in an instant. This is. The green-clothed, purple-robed and black-robed demonic cultivators revealed a thoughtful expression. At the next moment, the three of them revealed a look of understanding. I see. The three of them said at the same time. They recalled the last words of the Rain Ancestor. The ancient god clan proves the Tao with the heart. If the heart dies, the law will perish. On the other hand, if the heart does not die, the law will not perish. With a trace of obsession in the heart, the law will protect this body for eternity, and the courage to live as long as heaven and earth. This was the great Tao of the ancient god clan. During the great ancient tribulation, the ancient god clan lost their heart. The heart did not only refer to the aptitude to cultivate magic power, but also the obsession in the heart. If one did not have enough obsession, how could one subdue the heart? If one could subdue the heart, one would be able to attain the great Tao. Subdue the heart, the green-robed divine cultivator seemed to have gained a great understanding of the divine Tao. His eyes became more resolute and his heart became more resolute. The black-robed and purple-robed demonic cultivators took turns to attack his heart. They destroyed the heart of the divine cultivator countless times. However, the heart of the divine cultivator healed itself in an instant. 8,000 years, 9,000 years, 10,000 years, 20,000 years, 50,000 years, 100,000 years, 100,000 years of pain could not erase the obsession in the eyes of the green-robed divine cultivator. His heart was still there. Enough. The green-robed divine cultivator suddenly raised his head and laughed. He shook his magic power and broke the demon-devil shackles on his body. When he took the first step, the injuries on his body instantly healed. When he took the second step, he had already merged with the purple-robed and black-robed demonic cultivators. When he took the third step, he turned into a white-robed demonic cultivator. The corner of his mouth rose slightly and he said, "First divine aperture, open." The pain of 100,000 years of heart severing could not make him yield. It only made his belief become stronger. At this moment, the heart-severing illusory realm completely collapsed. In the outside world, Ning Fan, who was sitting cross-legged in the profound Yin world, suddenly opened his eyes. He had stayed in the illusory realm for 100,000 years. However, that illusory realm was just like a nap dream. It was extremely short. In the outside world, only the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn had passed. The moment Ning Fan activated the heart-severing technique, his body in the outside world automatically fell unconscious. When he woke up, he realized that he was leaning against a warm, fragrant, and soft embrace. Luo Yu was hugging Ning Fan tightly with great concern. She held his unconscious body tightly against her chest. Her beautiful eyes no longer had the usual charm. Instead, there was only undisguised panic and worry. She did not know what happened when Ning Fan was refining the natal blood rain of the Rain Ancestor at all. However, she could tell that the incident that Ning Fan encountered must be extremely serious. Otherwise, his face would not have turned as pale as a piece of paper in just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. He looked like he was about to die. At that moment, Luo Yu could clearly feel Ning Fan's life force fading away rapidly. It was as if he would die at any time in her arms. At that moment, her mind was no longer thinking about revenge or using Ning Fan's power to escape from the profound Yin world. She just did not want him to die. She did not want him to die. Even if she had to pay any price, she would not want him to die. At this moment, Ning Fan's life force suddenly recovered and he woke up unscathed. Are you alright? Is this true? Luo Yu no longer had her usual calm demeanor. Her eyes suddenly became moist and her tears stained her sleeves. Ning Fan originally wanted to tease Luo Yu. However, when he saw her current expression, his heart was touched and he could no longer laugh. He could only comfort her tenderly. There was a small incident but I'm fine now. He raised his hand to wipe away her tears. Luo Yu was stunned. Then, she gradually regained her senses. She let go of Ning Fan and stood up gently, avoiding his hand. It's good that you're fine. Continue to break through the void-pierce stage bottleneck. I will protect you. She had already regained her usual calm demeanor. If it wasn't because of the tear stains at the corner of her eyes, Ning Fan would find it hard to imagine that the lady who held him in a heartbroken state just now was Luo Yu. Luo Yu wiped away her tears on her own. Her eyes gradually squeezed out a hint of charm and regained her charming expression. She carefully looked at Ning Fan. When their eyes met, she was suddenly shocked. Ning Fan had just fainted for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. However, his current gaze was vastly different from before. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes were as resolute as a rock. They also contained a sense of vicissitudes of life after going through all kinds of hardships. If it wasn't because Luo Yu had watched Ning Fan grow up, she would certainly think that he was an old monster who had lived for 100,000 years. She naturally did not expect that Ning Fan would suffer the torture of having his heart severed for 100,000 years in the illusory realm. While suppressing the magic power and aura force in his body that was rising rapidly, Ning Fan knew that he must immediately consume other heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures to continue replenishing his magic power after breaking through to the void-pierce stage in preparation for breaking through to the absolute void stage in the future. Little Yu heir, I have something to tell you. The reason why I fainted just now was because of that drop of natal blood rain. That drop of natal blood rain was specially refined by the rain ancestor. It has the miraculous effect of opening the divine aperture of a cultivator. I have already successfully opened the first aperture of the ancient god. These are the information about the divine aperture of the ancient god that I obtained from the rain ancestor. You can take a look. It might be of some help to you. Ning Fan took out a jade slip and imprinted all the secrets of the ancient god that he had learned in the illusory realm into it. Then, he gave it to Luo Yu. He did not look at Luo Yu's surprised expression. Instead, he immediately took out a series of pills and Dao fruits and began to refine all kinds of heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. Luo Yu was extremely shocked. She did not expect that Ning Fan could open the first aperture of the ancient god in just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn and become a true ancient god. After reading the jade slip, Luo Yu realized that the heart aperture technique that she cultivated in the past was just an imitation of the ancient god. It was impossible for her to truly open the divine aperture of the ancient god. In the past, she had endured the pain of having her heart gouged out for 7,000 years. However, she had made a mistake. She also saw the heart-severing technique from the jade slip. Almost instantly, she guessed that Ning Fan must have used such a ruthless technique to open his divine aperture. He used the heart-severing technique to sever his own heart in the illusory realm. Every time he severed his heart, it would last for thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years. That's why he was so weak just now, as if he was about to die. She stared at Ning Fan without blinking, waiting to witness the power of his ancient god body. Ning Fan was an ancient god with one aperture. At this moment, the tiny aperture on his heart had been opened to the size of a finger. It was the first divine aperture. A vast amount of magic power flowed inside the divine aperture, causing Ning Fan's magic power cultivation speed to be twice as fast as before. As for the pills that could increase his magic power, the improvement he obtained was also twice as fast as before. Moreover, the divine aperture could continuously absorb the power of heaven and earth and turn it into magic power. Even if Ning Fan does not cultivate, he could still increase his magic power by 60 years every day. In 1 year, he could automatically increase 365 units of magic power. In 10,000 years, he could automatically increase 3,650,000 units of magic power. In 100,000 years, he could automatically increase 36.5 million units of magic power. Even if a true ancient god with one aperture never cultivates in his or her life, he or she would still be able to gather 1 million units of magic power before advancing to the void refinement realm. Of course, whether or not he or she could successfully attain the void fragmentation realm depended on his or her own ability. If he opens the second aperture, the third aperture and the fourth aperture, the improvement of his magic power would become even more heaven-defying. The ancient god clan was born to be far superior to other clans in terms of magic power cultivation. Ning Fan consumed 200 serene grass pills in succession. With the help of the terrifying refining speed of the profound Yin world, he refined all the pills within a day. The serene grass pill was a mid-grade 6th revolution pill. Each pill could increase 2,000 units of magic power. In total, 200 of them could increase 400,000 units of magic power. However, after Ning Fan consumed so many serene grass pills, his magic power increased by 800,000 units. After he opened his first divine aperture, he consumed a pill that increased his magic power by 2 times compared to others. His magic power was now 11 million units. Twice the effect of consuming pills. Luo Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with a hint of excitement and astonishment. The ancient god clan was indeed very powerful. For an ancient god with a single aperture, consuming a pill was equivalent to consuming 2 pills for others. If it's an ancient god with a higher cultivation base, it would certainly be even more heaven-defying. Ning Fan did not continue to consume other pills. Instead, he took out 50 azure bone pills and refined them one by one as a test. Each of the 50 azure bone pills could greatly increase his essence chi cultivation base. 50 pills could increase his essence chi cultivation base by 500,000 units in total. After consuming all of the azure bone pills, Ning Fan's essence chi cultivation base increased from 9 million units to 9.5 million units. However, the effect of consuming the pills did not increase. It seems like the divine aperture can only increase the medicinal effect of pills that increase magic power. Ning Fan took out 9 barbaric dragon fruits and consumed them one by one, increasing his essence chi by 900,000 units in total. Similarly, the 9 barbaric dragon fruits did not increase the medicinal effect. Then, he took out the entire barbaric dragon tree and assimilated it into his body in an extremely wasteful manner. His essence chi increased by 1 million units, but the medicinal effect did not increase either. You silly little brother. You actually ate the barbaric dragon tree. Luo Yu stared at Ning Fan speechlessly. The origin of this barbaric dragon tree was not simple. Just an ordinary barbaric dragon tree could bear 12 barbaric dragon fruits in 1,000 years. Each of the barbaric dragon fruits was a supreme treasure for Golden Body Realm cultivators to improve their body refinement cultivation base. The barbaric dragon tree was considered as a rare spiritual root in the 4 heavens. As for the body refinement clans in the 4 heavens, they knew the secret technique to cultivate the barbaric dragon tree into an ancestral tree. Once the barbaric dragon tree is cultivated into an ancestral tree, the barbaric dragon ancestral fruits that it bears would be even more heaven-defying. Luo Yu was just a little speechless. Of course, she understood that Ning Fan was not a person who had the patience to plant and raise trees. What he lacked right now was time. He needed to do everything he could to improve his cultivation base, even if it would be a waste of a heavenly treasure. After refining the barbaric dragon tree, Ning Fan's essence chi cultivation base broke through to 11.4 million units. At this moment, his ancient devil cultivation base broke through to the late reckless devil realm. The number of golden orifices in his body increased rapidly. At this moment, his body refinement realm, which was at the 3rd level of the golden body realm, broke through to the 4th level of the golden body realm. Not only that. After absorbing the wood power of a rare spiritual tree like the barbaric dragon tree, the cultivation of his wood element physique had reached 1% of perfection. His ability to control wood had greatly improved. The minor 5 elements physique can actually be upgraded. Ning Fan exclaimed in surprise. Of course, the minor 5 elements physique can be upgraded. By absorbing the power of the innately born spiritual objects of the 5 elements, one can gradually cultivate the minor 5 elements physique to perfection and eventually attain the great 5 elements physique. Luo Yu explained. I see. Ning Fan nodded his head. Since the minor 5 elements physique could be upgraded, he was naturally willing to search for the spiritual objects of the 5 elements to achieve perfection. However, now was not the time to be concerned about the minor 5 elements physique. He patted his storage pouch and took out some other body refinement pills and consumed all of them. Eventually, his essence chi stopped at 11.8 million units. Next, he took out some pills that could increase his magic power again. With the help of his divine aperture, his magic power increased by 2 times. 120 divine bamboo pills could increase a void pierce stage cultivator's magic power by 1.2 million units. After consuming them, his magic power increased by 2.4 million units, reaching 13.4 million units. He took out 15 void refinement realm Dao fruits that he had plundered from various places. These void refinement realm Dao fruits were of different grades. They could increase a total of 800,000 units of magic power. After consuming these void refinement realm Dao fruits, Ning Fan's magic power increased by 1.6 million units, reaching 15 million units. He took out a void refinement realm Dao fruit that he plundered from the Snow Pine clan and swallowed it in one go, slowly refining it. Originally, this Dao fruit could increase a cultivator's magic power by 1 million units. However, at this moment, it actually increased by 2 million units. His magic power reached 17 million units. The last item he took out was the Dao fruit of the Rogue Immortal that he obtained from the 4 tests of the Sky Dominion City. This Dao fruit of the Rogue Immortal was sealed in ice with 7th grade cold chi. Ning Fan directly refined it together with the cold chi. The cold chi could increase the fire power of the yin-yang flame and replenish the water element of the 5 elements. It could also increase a cultivator's magic power by nearly 50,000 units. As for the Rogue Immortal Dao fruit, it could increase a cultivator's magic power by 2 million units. After refining the 2 items at the same time, Ning Fan's magic power increased by 4.1 million units. The cultivation of his water elemental physique also improved to 1%. Magic power, 21.1 million units. The bottleneck of the void pierce stage was 10 million cycles, while the bottleneck of the absolute void stage was 20 million cycles. Now that his magic power had reached this level, he could really break through the bottleneck of the absolute void stage in a single step. The vast Taishu mana could no longer be suppressed. The breakthrough was imminent, and the heavenly tribulation was about to descend. Ning Fan no longer waited. He hurriedly took out void pierce pills and absolute void pills and consumed them. Then, his eyes flashed with determination and he began to break through the bottleneck of the absolute void stage. His comprehension was sufficient, his magic power was sufficient, and he even had the assistance of pills. Breaking through was a matter of course. Ning Fan's aura force rose steadily. All of a sudden, he stood up and his aura force reached its peak at this moment. Cultivation, Taishu. Be careful. At the moment when Ning Fan broke through to the absolute void realm, Luo Yu hastily warned him. However, it was already too late. All of a sudden, a gigantic palm appeared out of nowhere in the profound Yin world and slapped at Ning Fan. The palm was formed by borrowing the power of the heavenly Tao, so it did not have any damaging power. However, when the palm landed on Ning Fan's body, Ning Fan, who had just broken through to the absolute void stage and had yet to stabilize his aura force, immediately swayed and fell out of the profound Yin world. As expected, it's impossible to use the profound Yin world to transcend my tribulation. Ning Fan frowned, as if he had already expected this situation. He was not particularly concerned about the void inquiry stage heavenly tribulation. However, he was already fully focused on the void pierce stage heavenly tribulation. This time, in order to resist the Yin wind tribulation, he had made a lot of preparations. However, he still chose to break through to the absolute void stage in the profound Yin world in the end because he wanted to see if he could transcend his tribulation in the profound Yin world through tricks. The profound Yin world was a medium-sized world. Its level was higher than the rain world. The heavenly Tao of the rain world did not have the right to punish him in the profound Yin world. If it was just a normal heavenly tribulation, Ning Fan could also choose to transcend it in the profound Yin world. However, the heavenly Tao of the lower world obviously did not like Ning Fan and insisted on intensifying the heavenly tribulation. This was against the rules of heaven and earth. Heavenly tribulations were not allowed in the profound Yin world. Therefore, Ning Fan wanted to enter the profound Yin world through tricks and see if he could directly block the heavenly tribulation in the lower world with its power. However, it was a pity that the heavenly Tao of the lower world still had such a method. It directly sent Ning Fan out of the profound Yin world and back to the island of ice. Fortunately, Ning Fan had set up layers of grand formations on the island of ice in advance. Otherwise, he would not even have the strength to fight back. He looked up at the sky, the aura of the great void soaring. Above the vault of heaven, dark clouds covered the sky. The chilly winds were as sharp as blades. The heavenly tribulation this time was none other than the Yin wind tribulation. Moreover, the destructive power of the wind tribulation was at least at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. 3 giants with cultivation bases at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm stood coldly above those dark clouds. All of them were Tao guardians. The one in charge of the Yin wind tribulation this time was a tree-armored giant named Call the Wind. As for the other 2 giants, one was an ice giant that wore green armor. Its name was Qing Shuang. One was a mountain giant. It wore rock armor and was called Landslide. Cultivator Ning Fan has killed too many people and repeatedly violated the harmony of heaven. He cannot be forgiven. I, the Tao wielder, represent the heavens to descend the wind and punish you in the tree immortal world. My name is Call Wind. The howling wind giant said coldly with a thunderous roar that was as dark as a saber. Chapter 586. As soon as the wind-caller giant finished speaking, it abruptly stomped on the thick layers of dark clouds beneath its feet. The dense dark clouds that covered the sky immediately set off a bone-chilling cold wind. Heaven and earth fell into darkness. Above the azure sea, thousands of Yin winds formed a gigantic tornado. The bottom of the tornado was connected to the surface of the sea and the top of the tornado was connected to the heavens. It swept towards the ice island where Ning Fan was. This isn't an ordinary Yin wind tribulation. This is the Yin dragon tribulation. Luo Yu exclaimed in surprise in the profound Yin world. The so-called Yin dragon tribulation was a variation of the Yin wind tribulation. It turned the wind into a tornado and greatly increased the power of the wind tribulation. The scale of the Yin wind tribulation this time was originally at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, when the chilly wind turned into a tornado, the power of the heavenly tribulation increased tremendously. Even though the power of the heavenly tribulation this time did not reach the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it was still not comparable to an ordinary first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm heavenly tribulation. the chilly tornado swept towards the island of ice. The layers of mortal void realm formation light on the island were gradually destroyed and dispersed into countless light specks. After the first round of wind tribulation, the outermost 100 layers of tribulation-resisting lightning array lights were almost completely destroyed. Even the middle 100 layers of tribulation-resisting fire array lights were mostly destroyed. Fortunately, Ning Fan had laid down 300 layers of formation light of the Divine Dipper Wind Destruction formation in the innermost layer. Finally, he managed to withstand the first round of heavenly tribulation. Ning Fan frowned when he saw that. It's a very strong Yin wind tribulation, with just 500 layers of formation light, it's impossible to withstand too many Yin wind tribulations. Defending the formation is just waiting for death. As expected, if I want to break through the tribulation, I must take the initiative to attack. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch, took out the one-stripe wind pearl and put it in his mouth. A faint green light immediately rose around his body. It looked like a thin cocoon of light, but it had a great defensive power against the Yin wind tribulation. After containing the wind calming bead, Ning Fan immediately took out the formation plate and activated the 300 layers of Divinity Dipper Wind Destruction formation at the same time. At this moment, more than 300 layers of array lights shone brightly, and the haze in the sky was pierced by the green light. The green light condensed into a huge green pocket, and there were more than 300 of them. That bag was the wind extinguishing belt, which could suck in all the violent winds in the sky. Not only could the Divine Dipper Wind Annihilation formation defend against the wind tribulation, but it could also take the initiative to attack. Ning Fan changed his hand seal and the 300 wind bags sucked the dark clouds and chilly wind into the wind bags at the same time. In just a few breaths, more than 2/3 of the dark clouds in the sky had been sucked away. The originally powerful Yin wind tribulation was directly broken by 2/3 by the 300 layers of formation lights. As half of the Yin wind tribulation was broken, the 300-layered Godly Dipper Wind Annihilation formation's formation light dimmed, and its power was exhausted. With just 300 layers of wind destruction formation light, Ning Fan almost broke the Yin wind tribulation this time. If I had known that the Divine Dipper Wind Annihilation formation was so effective against the Yin wind tribulation, I would have made another 1 to 200 more formation discs. Who knows, I might have been able to directly annihilate all the Yin wind with the formation light. Ning Fan took a step forward and soared into the sky with the wind calming bead in his mouth. Before the power of the wind calming bead was exhausted, the remaining 1/3 of the Yin wind tribulation was nothing to fear. He only had to deal with 3 Dao Guardians next. The 3 giants, Call Wind, Qing Shuang, and Landslide, were slightly surprised when they saw Ning Fan breaking 2/3 of the Yin wind tribulation with just the formation light. Call Wind's eyes darkened. He activated the remaining Yin wind tribulation clouds and summoned tornadoes of Yin wind. The power of those tornadoes was greatly reduced. As soon as the Yin wind tribulation reached Ning Fan, it was immediately split apart by a sharp sword. Not a single wisp of the Yin wind tribulation could touch Ning Fan's body. This beast has a wind-destroying treasure. The remnant Yin wind tribulation alone won't be able to hurt him. The landslide giant pondered. If that's the case, let's attack together. Killing this beast will be as easy as flipping our hands. The Qing Shuang giant took a step forward and directly waved a gigantic fist light at Ning Fan. All of a sudden, heaven and earth froze. The seawater of the Azure Sea within 1 million li was frozen. A void fragmentation realm attack, huh? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with intense battle intent. With his current absolute void stage cultivation base, he might be able to withstand a void fragmentation realm attack if he goes all out. After breaking through the bottlenecks of the Void Pierce stage and Absolute Void stage consecutively, his spirit sense had improved significantly. His spirit sense, which was originally infinitely close to the Origin Returning Great Void stage, had now completely reached the Origin Returning Great Void stage. Moreover, it was 10 to 20% stronger than ordinary Origin Returning Great Void stage experts. Ning Fan stepped in the sky. His clothes were still as white as snow when he took the first step. At the next moment, his clothes turned as black as ink. Now that he had transformed into his sense soul incarnation, his cultivation base had directly risen to the returning origin Great Void stage. His 5 fingers reached to the bottom of the deep sea and grabbed the void space within 800,000 li. Then, he drew out the earth soul and the void soul and swallowed them. His aura force rose once again, almost reaching the highest peak of the returning origin Great Void stage. Almost no one below the void fragmentation realm could make his aura force reach such a level. At this moment, Ning Fan could almost be considered as a peak expert among the returning origin Great Void stage. Ning Fan stopped moving and abruptly took a step in the void space. The hollow space shattered and black waves rushed towards him, forming a massive ocean of void space beneath his feet. Stepping on the ocean of void space, Ning Fan's magic power was endless. He stared at the icy fist light of the Qing Shuang giant and his battle intent skyrocketed. All of a sudden, he lifted his finger and pointed. Incinerate. As soon as he pointed his finger, black flames covered the entire sky. Within the sea of flames, 9 black fire dragons emerged. The 9 dragons dashed towards the icy fist light fearlessly. When the first fire dragon collided with the fist light, it was immediately frozen into ice. The second, third, and fourth fire dragons were also frozen into soldiers. However, when it reached the 5th fire dragon, it suddenly self-detonated, burning away 1/3 of the icy fist light. The explosion of the 6th dragon and the 7th dragon finally completely destroyed the icy fist light of the void fragmentation realm attack. The 8th and 9th dragons roared furiously like thunder. They went straight to the sky and collided with the Qing Shuang giant furiously. The Qing Shuang giant did not expect that Ning Fan actually had the upper hand even though he had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm. Naturally, he would not be hurt by the remaining 2 black fire dragons. He breathed out a mouthful of green cold qi and froze the 2 dragons. Even so, the Qing Shuang giant's expression did not look good. After all, his cultivation base was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was really embarrassing for him to fail to injure a junior at the absolute void stage with a full force attack. He wanted to attack again but he was stopped by the landslide giant. This bastard has captured Jihua and Purple Lightning one after another. He must not be underestimated. Let's attack together. Let's attack together. At this moment, Kal Wind had also calmed down. He could tell how strong Ning Fan was. The Qing Shuang giant nodded his head. The 3 giants cast their techniques at the same time. Their powerful magic power waves caused the waves within millions of li of the Qing Shuang giants. The Wind Summoning Giant used a magic technique and summoned 12 green wind dragons. The Qing Shuang giant used a magic technique and a gigantic ice hand suddenly appeared in the sky. The landslide giant used a magic technique. Countless shadows of collapsed mountains descended from the sky and pressed down on Ning Fan's head. Ning Fan opened his mouth and withdrew all of his black flames. His eyes were filled with seriousness. Through this confrontation with the Qing Shuang giant, he had a better understanding of the gap between him and a void fragmentation realm cultivator. After displaying his full strength, he was almost invincible at the origin returning realm. The grade of his black flames was very high. It greatly restrained the Qing Shuang giant who had an icy body. Even so, Ning Fan only gained a slight upper hand in the clash of their attacks. He did not manage to hurt the Qing Shuang giant at all. As for the sea of void beneath his feet, it had been depleted by more than half. If it is depleted completely, it would no longer be able to display its inexhaustible power. Ning Fan thought to himself that if he were to face giants of other attributes, he might still be at a disadvantage. Of course, he did not use his strongest trump card and neither did the Qing Shuang giant in this confrontation. If he uses all of his trump cards, he might not be able to kill a void fragmentation realm expert for sure, but he would at least be able to severely injure the Qing Shuang giant. The current Ning Fan was finally getting closer to the void fragmentation realm. When Ning Fan saw the three giants unleashing their techniques at the same time, he knew that the combined attack of the three Tao Guardians was no longer something that he could withstand alone. He patted his inventory bag, summoned the Jihua and the purple lightning beasts, then shook the cauldron ring to summon the delicate vine. The moment he summoned one of the two puppets, Ning Fan immediately transmitted his voice to his subordinates. The two puppets heard the order and immediately used their fire and thunder divine abilities. When Ting Xianrou heard Ning Fan's voice, she could not understand the situation at all. She did not know what was going on with the 5 void fragmentation realm giants who were standing in the sky. She also did not know why Ning Fan's aura had skyrocketed in just a short period of time. Seeing the magic techniques of the 3 Tao Guardians flying towards her, Ting Xianrou knew that this was not the time to ask questions. Thus, she had no choice but to obey Ning Fan's command. She brandished her purple vine sword and slashed out countless sword rays to resist the attacks of the 3 Tao Guardians. The divine abilities of the 6 void fragmentation realm experts clashed against each other, causing the vast sky within a radius of nearly 10 million li to shatter. Both sides had 3 experts at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Jihua, Violet Lightning. How dare you rebel against the heavens? What punishment do you deserve? The 3 giants, Call Wind, Qing Shuang, and Landslide, were immediately enraged when they saw Jihua and Violet Lightning getting in their way. Jihua and Violet Lightning remained silent. They did not care about the 3 Tao Guardians at all. The 2 puppets obeyed Ning Fan's order. After blocking the attacks of the 3 Tao Guardians, they immediately turned into 3 rays of light and dashed towards the 3 Tao Guardians respectively. What they needed to do now was to hold the 3 Tao Guardians back. As for Ning Fan, he was responsible for sneak attacking the 3 Tao Guardians one by one with the help of the life imprisoning technique. With his current cultivation base, it was not difficult for him to subdue a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm spiritual puppet with the help of the life imprisoning technique. Ning Fan's figure flashed. He wanted to use the heaven-deceiving cloak to conceal himself and sneak attack the 3 Tao Guardians. All of a sudden, a gigantic black and white ring shadow appeared in the sky. Its Tao power poured down like ocean waves. A ray of sword light that was half black and half white suddenly pierced out from the black and white ring shadow. Its destructive power was comparable to an attack at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The sword light was too fast, forcing Ning Fan to be unable to conceal himself. Feeling slightly startled, he hurriedly retreated in the vast sky. Then, he immediately patted his sword pouch and ordered the 5 sword spirits. Let's attack together and block this sword light. From Ning Fan's point of view, even if the black and white sword light had the destructive power of the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it would still be difficult for the 5 sword spirits to counter his sword. Little Fan, don't be afraid. Humph. Big sisters have already subdued the golden sword. Now, big sisters are really powerful. A sword light of this level isn't a match for big sisters at all. Little Fan, if you encounter any danger, just ask big sisters for help. Big sisters will protect you. Chie's sword cry that sounded like that of a sovereign of swords suddenly came from the storage pouch. At the next moment, a golden sword ray flew out from the sword pouch. It was none other than the Emperor Xia's sword that he had seized from Ting Xianrou. The 5 sword spirits possessed the Emperor Xia's sword and activated it. It turned into a golden sword ray and cut the black and white sword light into 2 with just a single slash. The destructive power of the golden sword ray was comparable to an attack from a 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After destroying the black and white sword light, the Emperor Xia's sword flew back under the control of the 5 sword spirits and returned to Ning Fan. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. He did not know that the 5 sword spirits had already subdued the Emperor Xia's sword while he was breaking through to the next cultivation realm. Humph. Little Fan, look. Big sister has helped you to subdue this golden sword with my strength. Humph. It's all second sister's credit that the golden sword can produce sword light. Quick, praise me. Humph, the Emperor's sword essence in the golden sword was simulated by third sister. Humph, fourth sister has set up a sword formation in the golden sword. Even if it's you, little Fan, you can use this sword as you please. It's me. Tong Tong was very anxious and she stuttered even more. She wanted to tell Ning Fan that the Emperor Xia's sword was originally unwilling to submit to the five of them. It was her who threatened the Emperor Xia's sword. If the Emperor Xia's sword refused to submit, she would break it. She had contributed greatly to subduing the Emperor Xia's sword. However, she could not say it out loud when she was excited. When Ning Fan heard the chatter of the five little girls, he could not help but laugh and shake his head. He roughly understood that the five little girls had worked together during this period of time and successfully subdued the Emperor Xia's sword. This sword was a mid-grade immortal void realm magic treasure. Originally, only third heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivators could use it. Even Ting Xianro would suffer a severe backlash when she uses this sword rashly. Under normal circumstances, if Ning Fan forcefully uses this sword, he would directly suffer severe injuries from the backlash and he would not be able to activate any of the sword's power. However, after the joint efforts of the five little girls, Ning Fan could also use this sword freely even with his current cultivation base. Ning Fan reached out his palm and held the Emperor Xia's sword in his hand. Immediately, he felt a mysterious feeling of becoming one with the sword. The moment he held the Emperor Xia's sword, his aura changed greatly. It was as if he had become an extremely pure sword cultivator, a sovereign of swords. With the help of the five sword spirits, he could finally use this sword. The moment he held the Emperor Xia's sword, a little girl in snow-white robes suddenly walked out from the black and white ring shadows. She looked to be around 11 or 12 years old. She held a black gold sword that was as black as ink in her hand. She had a beautiful face and both of her eyes were pure white. Her body was petite and weak but her aura force had reached the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Humph. So you are the devil lord of the rain world, Ning Fan. You sure have guts. If I didn't stop you, were you going to take away all of my last 3 Dao enforcing puppets? How dare you try to take away all of my 5 elemental puppets? You're too despicable. The little girl took a step forward. Her eyes were filled with anger. She raised her black gold sword and pointed it at Ning Fan. I am the Dao spirit of the first ring of the heavenly Dao in the lower world. My name is Life and Death. The reason why I'm here today is to teach you a lesson. Teach me a lesson. Ning Fan revealed a playful look. He had already vaguely guessed that the person who repeatedly sent heavenly tribulations on him was the little girl in white robes and holding a black sword in front of him. Without saying a word, he held the Emperor Xia's sword in his hand and slashed at the little girl across the sky. As soon as he slashed his sword, the sky cracked and the azure sea was split into 2. The sword light of the sword was as dazzling as the golden sun. It was filled with the might of a sovereign among swords, as if a sword sovereign of a generation was personally wielding his sword. Ning Fan's magic power was nearly depleted by the Emperor Xia's sword when he slashed his sword. Even with the help of the sword formation, it only consumed such a small amount of his magic power. However, the power of this sword made him feel extremely satisfied. That gigantic golden sword light traveled across the vast sky of 1 million li in just an instant. The speed of the sword light was unimaginably fast. When the sword was slashed, it went straight at the little girl in white robes. Under the might of the sword, the little girl's spiritual body actually trembled uncontrollably. She could tell that the sword light was too powerful. It had reached the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It made her face turn pale with fright. She did not know how to block it. She was just a Dao spirit who drank tea, descended tribulations, and slept. How could she have any profound experience in fights of magic power? This sword light was clearly the same sword light that destroyed her black and white sword technique. She could not withstand this sword light at all. If she takes it head-on, she would either die or be severely injured. Why you? You're cheating. You have just broken through to the absolute void stage. How could you possibly use a magic treasure of this level and produce a sword light of this level? I don't want to fight you anymore. I hate you. The little girl's face was filled with fear. With a shake of her body, she turned into an auspicious bird that was half black and half white and flew back to the heavenly Tao ring shadow at an extremely terrifying speed. At the next moment, the ring shadow disappeared. She actually ran away without even caring about the 3 Tao enforcing puppets. It doesn't matter if I lose the puppets. I'll just ask someone to make a few more in the future. She was the little dumb bird who appeared in the Palm Calamity Palace that day. She was the Tao spirit of the heavenly Tao of the lower worlds who had repeatedly delivered tribulations to Ning Fan. Originally, she wanted to personally teach him a lesson. However, she did not expect him to have such a powerful golden sword. The might of that sword was comparable to an attack at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. She was not his match at all. So, she decisively ran away. She came in a hurry and left in a hurry. Did he run away? Ning Fan could naturally tell that this Tao spirit of the heavenly Tao had a very weak temperament. He just had the mentality of a child and could not be frightened easily. As such, he used Emperor Xia's sword to strike at her, and as expected, he managed to scare the little girl away. What delighted him was the power of Emperor Xia's sword. He didn't expect that the 5 sword spirits would be able to subdue Emperor Xia's sword for him to use. From this moment on, Emperor Xia's sword would definitely become his strongest trump card. The might of that single sword strike was comparable to an attack at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was powerful enough to severely injure an old monster at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and instantly kill a 1st heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. Of course, Emperor Xia's sword had almost used up all of his qi. When facing an enemy, it could only be used as a last resort. If he missed, it would be a huge loss. What made him speechless was that the heavenly Tao that had been giving him trouble all this while was actually just a little girl who ran away in fear. This was somewhat different from the image of the majestic and cold heavenly Tao that he had imagined. This time, he managed to scare the little girl Tao spirit away. Next time, he did not know if this little girl would still dare to cause trouble for him. Ning Fan cleared his mind and kept Emperor Xia's sword. Then, he took out a pill and consumed it, recovering some of his magic power. His figure flashed. He used the heaven-deceiving cloak to conceal himself and approached the 3 Tao guardians. Without the interference of the Tao spirit, it was not difficult to subdue the 3 Tao guardians. At that moment, the 3 Tao guardians were greatly shocked. They never expected that their master would be chased away by Ning Fan's sword after coming here personally. The destructive power of Ning Fan's sword was too terrifying. If he uses this sword to deal with the 3 Tao guardians before this, he could kill one of them with a single strike. Ting Xianro covered her red lips with a shocked expression. At this moment, she was even more convinced that Ning Fan was a void fragmentation realm sword cultivator whose cultivation base had fallen. Moreover, he was at least at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. If that was not the case, how could Ning Fan use Emperor Xia's sword? Moreover, the way he wielded the sword was completely comparable to the 3 sword sovereigns of the sword world. Being the servant of a sword sovereign at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm doesn't seem to be particularly sullen. Ting Xianro comforted herself. She suddenly felt that this kind of life of being captured was actually quite interesting. 1 hour later, the 3 giants, Call Wind, Qing Shuang and Landslide, knelt in the sky at the same time. Their eyes were empty as they submitted to Ning Fan. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curved slightly. Now, I have 3 more void fragmentation realm spiritual puppets. It's almost time for me to return to the Nether Luo clan. However, before I return, it seems like I need to consume a void reinforcing pill to stabilize my absolute void stage. Chapter 587. On the island of ice in the Azure Sea, Ning Fan consumed a void consolidating pill. After meditating for a few days, he completely stabilized his absolute void stage cultivation base with the power of the pill. After stabilizing his cultivation base, his speed reached the grand virtual realm. After summoning the 8 wings of black flame, his speed was close to the grand virtual realm, allowing him to travel 500,000 li in one go. Ning Fan turned into a ray of escaping light made of black flames and flew across the Azure Sea. His aura force became even more restrained. This time, when he broke through to the Taishu realm, he opened up the first divine orifice of the ancient gods, cultivated the divine blood of royalty, and severed his own heart for 100,000 years. After experiencing the pain of her heart being severed for 100,000 years, the firmness of her Tao heart was unimaginable. He turned into a streak of light and flew back to the Azure Frost Kingdom. When he returned to the Azure Frost Kingdom, the sifting bamboo ocean's formation was only 1/3 complete. Outside the bamboo ocean, the 8 patriarchs of the 8 clans of the Greyfrost Azure had been waiting outside the bamboo ocean for a long time. With the extermination of the Snow Pine clan and the other 3 clans, there were only 8 clans left of the 12 Azure Frost clans. Among the 8 clans, only 3 of them had old ancestors at the absolute void stage. The remaining 5 old ancestors were only at the void pierce stage. Among the 8 patriarchs, there was Patriarch Wei Feng of the Wei Zi clan and Grand Elder Qin Shuangzi of the Qin Nan clan. The 8 of them wore respectful expressions and didn't hold any weapons. They didn't come here with ill intentions and merely wanted to befriend the underworld Raja clan and discuss some matters. They had been waiting here for several days to meet Ning Fan. Since Ning Fan was not in the bamboo ocean, he naturally would not meet them. As for them, they did not dare to trespass the bamboo ocean without permission. This Liu Bei is just a void inquiry stage cultivator. Even if he could single-handedly eliminate the 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan, his combat strength would at most be at the Gue Yuan Taishu stage. Isn't he a little too arrogant? We, the old ancestors of the 8 forefathers, have come to see him, but he actually avoided us and left us hanging here for a few days. Old ancestor Yulo of the Jade Tree race snorted in dissatisfaction. He was a grand virtual realm cultivator. Fellow Daoist Jade Tower, be careful with your words. You should know that the more you say, the more mistakes you make, Qin Shuangzi reminded him with a smile. Ancestor Wei Feng shook his head and said to Ancestor Yushu, Liu Bei's divine art isn't something an ordinary origin returning great void cultivator can compare to. You haven't seen it with your own eyes, so of course you're not afraid. Old ancestor Yu Lu was wary of Ning Fan's reputation. Thus, he did not dare to say anything more. At this moment, a ray of traveling light suddenly flew over from the outside of the sea of bamboos. It approached from afar and turned into the figure of a young man in white robes. He descended to the ground. As soon as he saw the 8 old men standing outside the sea of bamboo, Ning Fan's eyes remained unmoved. He scanned across the 8 of them and saw the emblem of the 8 clans of the Cold Azure clan embroidered on their robes. Immediately, he knew their identities. Underworld Luo Bei greets fellow Taoists from the Cold Azure Nation. His tone was neither arrogant nor humble. It was just a plain tone. Although his tone was calm, the hidden Taishu aura on his body slightly dissipated. Wei Feng, Qin Shuangzi, and the other patriarchs were shocked when they sensed the aura of the Taishu realm. Isn't this Liu Bei a void inquiry stage cultivator? When did he become an absolute void stage cultivator? So, this person is an old monster of the Great Void Realm. No wonder he could single-handedly wipe out the 4 races of the Snow Pine realm. He must not be far from successfully returning to his origin. Shock appeared in Ancestor Yulo's eyes. After he sensed Ning Fan's absolute void stage chi, he immediately secretly spread out his spirit sense, trying to probe Ning Fan's background. His spirit sense was not weak. It was even 3 times stronger than an ordinary absolute void stage cultivator. However, when his spirit sense scanned Ning Fan's body, it immediately disappeared without a trace, like a clay ox entering the sea. Ancestor Yulo's eyes were filled with shock. He did not say anything. However, the way he looked at Ning Fan no longer had a trace of dissatisfaction. Instead, there was only politeness. Fellow Taoist Lu, you don't have to be so courteous. We, the old ancestors of the 8 clans, have come here to discuss some matters with you. Wei Feng politely cupped his fists and returned the greeting. I see. Since all of you have something to discuss with me, why don't we move to see Luo City and discuss it there? Ning Fan said. That's great. The 8 old ancestors followed Ning Fan into the Sea of Bamboo and entered Si Luo City. What they wanted to discuss was the division of power in the Cold Azure Nation in the next tens of thousands of years. After the 4 races of the Snow Pine clan were annihilated, there were only 8 Void Refinement Realm clans left in the Cold Azure Nation. As for the Underworld Luo clan, which had Ning Fan as its leader, it was undoubtedly qualified to become the Cold Azure clan. With the destruction of the 4 clans and the rise of the Ming Luo clan, the change of power in the Cold Azure Nation was naturally huge. Ning Fan had already decided to bring the entire Si Luo Bamboo Sea with him. Naturally, he would also bring the Ming Luo clan back to the Rain World. Therefore, he actually did not care much about the division of power in the Cold Azure Nation in the future. He did not have any objection to any suggestion of the 8 old ancestors to divide the power of the Cold Azure Nation. After he destroyed the 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan, the territories of the 4 clans naturally fell into the hands of the Ming Luo clan. The old ancestors of the 8 clans wanted to pay a certain price to get some of the subsidiary forces and territories of the 4 clans from Ning Fan. Ning Fan agreed to their request and even sold all the subsidiary forces and territories of the 4 clans to the 8 clans. Anyway, he would not stay in the Cold Azure Nation. What was the use of those things? After the transaction, the 8 clans paid Ning Fan 50 billion immortal jade and 8,000 Dao crystals in total. After that, the 8 old ancestors stayed in Si Luo City and exchanged their cultivation experiences with Ning Fan for a few days. After that, they left with satisfaction. After sending the 8 old ancestors away, Ning Fan sent his spirit sense into his storage pouch. After counting the number of Dao crystals in it, he sighed softly. Currently, the number of Dao crystals he had was about 30,000, which was equivalent to 150 billion immortal jade. Dao crystals were the currency of the 4 heavens. However, they also had another use. Ning Fan had once obtained the origin returning technique of the Rain Ancestor and many other types of origin returning technique in the Rain Palace. All of the origin returning technique had one thing in common. In order to achieve the origin returning technique, one would need to devour a large number of Dao crystals. The origin returning technique of the Great Void stage was far stronger than ordinary Great Void stage cultivators. The so-called origin returning technique referred to converting 60 units of magic power into origin returning technique by absorbing the power of the Dao crystals. Theoretically speaking, an ordinary Great Void stage cultivator could begin the process of origin returning technique after cultivating up to 36 million units of magic power. After that, they would be able to break through to the Void Fragmentation realm. After that, the more origin returning technique one possessed, the higher their chances of breaking through to the Void Fragmentation realm would be. In order to achieve the origin returning technique, one would need to devour a large number of Dao crystals. Each Dao crystal could provide 1,000 units of magic power. If a Great Void stage cultivator with 36 million units of magic power wants to achieve the origin returning technique, he would need to devour 36,000 Dao crystals, which was equivalent to 180 billion immortal jade. As for the origin returning technique of the Great Void stage cultivator with 36 million units of magic power, he would need to devour 36,000 Dao crystals, which was equivalent to 180 billion immortal jade. If the origin returning technique of the Great Void stage cultivator had stronger magic power, he would need to consume more Dao crystals. Origin returning technique was a crucial step in breaking through to the Void Fragmentation realm. It was extremely costly. Normally, Only major forces with strong foundations would have enough financial resources to nurture a origin-returning technique of the Great Void stage. Ning Fan fell into deep thought. Now that he had just broken through to the Absolute Void stage, his magic power was at 1 million units. It was not the time for him to achieve the origin-returning technique yet. According to his plan, he would only start to achieve the origin-returning technique after he had at least 70 to 80 million units of magic power to break through the bottleneck of the void fragmentation realm. If that is the case, he would need to prepare at least 70 to 80,000 Dao crystals to devour them. From today onwards, he could no longer squander the Dao crystals casually. He summoned the 7 Ming Luo priests including Qing Dai and told them about his plan to take away the entire thought-sifting bamboo sea. Qing Dai had already heard from her master that Ning Fan was going to take away the entire thought-sifting bamboo sea. As for the 6 priests, it was the first time they heard such a shocking news. Their faces were filled with astonishment, but they did not raise any objections. The grand formation was still in full swing. According to the agreement he had with Guang Hanzi, he would erase Xi Hua and Xi Dian's memories and let them go after he has successfully healed them. After that, Ning Fan personally guided the members of the Nether Sifting clan to set up a massive formation light that covered the entire sea of Sea Luo bamboo. Half a month later, the formation was successfully set up. Night fell. This was the last night that Ning Fan would stay in the Azure Cold Country. It was also the last night that the members of the Ming Luo clan would stay in the country. The formation was a wood elemental formation, so its power was affected by sunlight. At noon tomorrow, when the sun was at its brightest, it would be the time to take away the entire sifting bamboo sea. On this night, Ning Fan was walking alone within the boundary of the Sea Luo bamboo sea which spanned 4 million li. He was checking every formation eye and formation marks for the last time to see if there were no mistakes in the arrangements. He walked in the bamboo forest under the moonlight. Suddenly, he stopped and his eyes narrowed. Suddenly, a middle-aged man clad in bamboo armor walked out from behind a row of Xiang Fei bamboos. This burly man had an extraordinarily dignified appearance. His gaze was extremely sharp, and there was a hidden might of an emperor hidden within him. He didn't reveal any of his aura, but it was as deep as the sea. His entire body was surrounded by a lingering bamboo intent. That bamboo intent had reached the 2nd grade. Ning Fan carefully observed this person and inwardly judged that this person's aura force was not any weaker than the Rain Sovereign's. He was most likely a cultivator at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Judging from the various signs, the identity of this person was obvious. Ming Luo Liu Bei greets the Bamboo Sovereign. May I know why the Bamboo Sovereign has come to visit the Azure Cold Country? Ning Fan's tone was neither humble nor arrogant. The hidden might of an emperor perfectly blocked the might of the middle-aged man. He secretly guessed the purpose of the Bamboo Sovereign's visit, but he did not show any fear. Now that he had the 5 elemental puppets and Ting Xianro and Luo Yu's help, he could use Emperor Xia's sword freely with the help of the 5 sword spirits. Even if he might not be a match for the Bamboo Sovereign who was at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he had enough strength to protect himself and escape from the Bamboo Sovereign. Ning Fan was naturally not afraid that the Bamboo Sovereign would harm him. Moreover, the Bamboo Sovereign did not show any hostility. You have good eyesight. I am the Sovereign of the Eastern Tree Sea. The reason why I came to you today is because I have a few questions to ask you. The Bamboo Sovereign's expression was cold and dignified. It was as if he never smiled. The first question. Are you a cultivator of the rain world? As soon as Ning Fan heard the Bamboo Sovereign's question, he knew that his identity had most likely been seen through by the latter. Thus, he answered honestly. That's right. The Bamboo Sovereign nodded his head and continued to ask. The second question. What are your intentions in entering the tree world? Originally, I entered the tree world to visit the Fire Tree clan and soak in the Zhurong spring. However, now, I have another purpose. I want to collect the ancestral tree fruits to break through to the 1st grade rain intent. Ning Fan did not need to hide this question. He originally wanted to obtain some ancestral tree fruits from the bamboo palace. Now that he had met the bamboo sovereign, he naturally had to mention it. I see. You originally wanted to go to the Fire Tree clan in the Western Tree Sea. However, you offended the Vine Sovereign. Thus, you gave up on going there and came to my Eastern Tree Sea to search for the ancestral tree fruits to improve your reign intent. Now that your reign intent is only at the 3rd grade, you've turned to search for the ancestral tree fruit. Judging from your motive, you're no threat to my Eastern Tree Sea. As long as you pose no threat to the Eastern Tree Sea, I won't do anything to you. As for the Tree Father fruit, it was a treasure of the bamboo hall and there were not many of them. It is extremely difficult to break through to the 1st grade, and the number of ancestral tree fruits required is not something you can imagine. As you can see, I haven't broken through the 1st grade intent realm because the remaining ancestral tree fruits in Bamboo Palace aren't enough to break through the 1st grade intent realm. However, if you are willing to help me do something, I can give you enough ancestral tree fruits to help your reign intent break through to the 2nd grade. We'll talk about this later. I still have a question for you. The Bamboo Sovereign's words made Ning Fan feel slightly disappointed. Initially, Ning Fan wanted to break through to the 1st grade reign intent with the help of the ancestral tree fruit. Now, it seemed like it would be difficult for him to fulfill his wish. He could look forward to a 2nd grade reign intent, but he needed to find another way to obtain a 1st grade reign intent. The 3rd question, are you going to bring Ancestor Yu Huang to the Rain World? The Bamboo Emperor's gaze suddenly darkened. Ning Fan offending the Vine Sovereign had nothing to do with him. Thus, he could ignore it. Ning Fan annihilated the 4 clans of the Snow Pine clan because they deserved it. Thus, he could ignore it. However, Ning Fan was trying to take away the remnant soul of the Bamboo Hall's ancestor. It was reasonable for the Bamboo Sovereign to interfere in this matter. The reason why the Bamboo Sovereign came to the Azure Cold Country this time was to stop Ning Fan's plan to take Yu Huang away. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. The reason he took Yu Huang away was to let Mu Luo and Yu Huang reunite. If the Bamboo Sovereign interferes, he only needs to wave his hand to destroy the Grand Formation. Then, Ning Fan would not be able to take Yu Huang away. That's right. I am indeed going to bring Senior Yu Huang to the Rain World. However, I have already obtained his consent. Moreover, it is to fulfill his long-cherished wish. Is this the intention of Ancestor Yu Huang? The gloominess in the Bamboo Sovereign's eyes slowly faded. Under the moonlight, a beautiful woman in green robes slowly appeared in front of the Bamboo Sovereign. She was Yu Huang. That's right. This is my intention. I'm the one who asked Liu Bei to bring me to the Rain World. As your ancestor, going to the Rain World is my long-cherished wish. Are you trying to stop me? Yu Huang's eyes were filled with a hint of sharp questioning. If Ancestor wants to go to the Rain World, I certainly won't dare to stop you. When the Bamboo Sovereign faced Ning Fan, he did not show any extra expression. However, when he faced Yu Huang, he showed a respectful expression and cupped his fists respectfully. One should never forget one's ancestors. Even though he was the high and mighty Bamboo Sovereign, he did not dare to disobey his ancestor. At first, he wanted to stop Ning Fan from taking Yu Huang away. However, if this was Yu Huang's wish, he would not dare to stop him. Very well. Tomorrow noon, I will leave Hansung with Liu Bei. Before that, I don't wish for any unforeseen events to happen. Yu Huang gave an order in a dignified manner. Then, his illusory body slowly faded into the bamboo forest and disappeared. After Yu Huang left, the Bamboo Sovereign wore a complicated expression. He gave Ning Fan a deep look and said, "If you want the ancestral tree fruit, come to Muyi country." Now, the ancestral bamboo in Muyi country has contracted a strange disease. I'm preparing to send out invitations to all the high-grade pill refinement masters in the entire tree world to solve the problem. The ancestral bamboo is the divine tree that grows the ancestral tree fruit. I noticed that your medicine soul isn't weak. You should be a 6th revolution pill refinement master. There aren't many 6th revolution pill refinement masters in the tree world. There are only 15 of them. I don't know how many of them are willing to come. If you can come to Muyi country and help me cure the strange disease of the ancestral tree, I will give you enough ancestral tree fruit to help you break through to the 2nd grade. Muyi country was the tree capital of the Eastern Tree Sea. It was where the bamboo hall was located. As soon as the bamboo sovereign finished speaking, he turned around and left. His figure gradually disappeared into the dim night sky. Ning Fan looked at the direction where the bamboo sovereign left and fell into deep thought. At noon the next day, Ning Fan kept the entire Ming Luo bamboo sea into his blood umbrella magic treasure with the power of the Grand Formation. A few days later, the news of the sudden disappearance of the entire Ming Luo bamboo sea shook the entire Blue Cold Country. The 8 clans of the Blue Cold Country were shocked. They immediately reported the matter to the Bamboo Hall. The old ancestors of the 8 clans knew that the Ming Luo bamboo sea had a great origin and it had been protected by the Bamboo Hall for countless years. Thus, they naturally did not dare to neglect it. When the news spread to the Bamboo Hall, it caused a huge commotion. Many people requested to investigate the matter, but they were all rejected by the Bamboo Sovereign. This matter is not to be discussed anymore. No one dared to disobey the Bamboo Sovereign's order. Thus, the disappearance of the Ming Luo bamboo sea was left unsettled. 10 days later, Ning Fan appeared in Muyi country in the central region of the Eastern Tree Sea. As soon as he entered the country, he sensed that he was being followed. The cultivator who was following him was from the Bai Li clan of Muyi country. Chapter 588. In Muyi country, the sea of bamboos stretched as far as the eye could see. Ning Fan turned into a ray of light and flew above the sea of bamboos. He had already sensed that there were cultivators following him as soon as he entered my country. Even though those cultivators had concealed themselves, they could not hide from Ning Fan's spirit sense at all. The clan insignia on their clothes showed their identity. They were all cultivators of the Bai Li clan. There were a total of 3 people who came. Among them, 2 were Void Glimpse stage experts while the other was Void Inquiry stage. The cultivation of these 3 people might not be high, but each of their bodies exuded an extremely strong baleful aura. They were all invincible in the same realm. These 3 people were carefully trained assassins of the Bai Li clan. After Ning Fan entered 1 million li of Muyi country, he immediately stopped moving and hovered above the sea of bamboos. He turned around and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He said to the clouds behind him, "Why are you following behind me?" As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, the flowing cloud behind him did not move at all. It seemed like the 3 hidden assassins did not intend to expose themselves. Ning Fan did not say another word. He took a step forward and stepped on the vast sky with great force. After he took that step, the sky within 500,000 kilometers suddenly trembled, and behind the clouds, 3 men immediately fell out in a sorry state. All 3 of them were clad in blood-colored armor, and each of them was riding on an illusory blood tiger. The blood tiger was a divine ability unique to the Bai Li clan. By transforming the blood tiger into a mount, it could greatly increase the speed of the clansmen. "We've been discovered. Kill him." Even though Ning Fan had seen through them, the 3 of them did not seem surprised at all. Instead, their expressions remained cold and indifferent. The 2 Void Glimpse stage assassins urged the blood tigers they were riding on. Each of them held a blood-colored banner and waved it abruptly. Immediately, the vast sky was filled with bloody light which reeked of blood. After releasing the blood light, the 2 Void Glimpse stage assassins lost their life force rapidly. Their faces aged rapidly. The Void Inquiry stage assassin leaped down from the blood tiger and into the blood light. He formed a seal with his 10 fingers and suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood essence. Then, he fiercely absorbed the blood light in the sky. Unlike the 2 Void Glimpse stage assassins, this Void Inquiry stage assassin's aura force rose sharply after he swallowed the blood light. His aura force, which was originally unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage cultivators, rose to the Void Pierce stage at this moment. Kill! The Void Inquiry stage assassin shouted coldly. He took a step forward and 4 Void Inquiry stage blood shadow clones suddenly separated from his body. Each of them held a magic treasure and rushed towards Ning Fan at the same time like rays of light. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly cold. This Void Inquiry stage assassin's abilities were not weak. With this secret technique that could raise his cultivation base and his 4 Void Inquiry stage clones, even ordinary Void Pierce stage experts would not be his match. Unfortunately, this Void Inquiry stage assassin was still not Ning Fan's match. Ning Fan lifted one of his feet and a sea of void immediately appeared beneath his feet. He lifted his finger and pointed. 1,000,000 lesser void swords swept across the sky. With just a single move, he killed all 4 of the blood shadow clones of the Void Inquiry stage assassin. The Void Inquiry stage assassin's eyes were filled with shock. Only then did he realize that the cultivation level of the assassin this time did not match the information he received. According to the information, Ning Fan was just a Void Inquiry stage cultivator. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was stepping on his void sea of qi. His absolute void aura force was soaring. He was obviously an absolute void stage old monster. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. Millions of lesser void swords slashed down, and he screamed as he perished in the rain of void swords. As for the other 2 Void Glimpse stage assassins who had aged, they also died under the little void sword. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, he could instantly kill a Void Pierce stage expert with just a raise of his hand. The blood light and sword shadows that filled the sky faded away. The vast sky gradually turned silent. Ning Fan looked at the empty sky and frowned slightly. When he used the lesser void swords, he avoided the vital dantions of the 3 assassins, intending to kill their primordial spirits and demon souls to search their souls and memories. However, after the 3 assassins died, there was no primordial spirit or demon soul left behind. They did not even leave behind a storage pouch. It was really strange. Did I use too much force and accidentally kill their primordial spirits under the rain of swords? Ning Fan pondered for a moment. Then, he turned around and was about to leave. At this moment, 3 rays of blood light suddenly appeared at the place where the 3 assassins died. The 3 rays of blood light merged into one and turned into a blood-red battle invitation. Ning Fan bent his palm and waved, drawing the battle invitation into his hand. There was only one word written in blood and ink on the battle invitation. Die. This was the second battle invitation that the clan leader of the Baili clan gave to Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with contemplation. This jade slip was formed from 3 traces of blood light. The 3 traces of blood light were planted in the bodies of 3 assassins. Only when all 3 of them die would the blood light condense into the second letter of challenge. Could it be that the clan leader of the Baili clan already knew that Ning Fan had the strength to kill the 3 assassins? Was that why the clan leader planted 3 rays of blood light in the bodies of the 3 assassins and left a second battle invitation behind? However, there were some parts that did not make sense. Since the Baili clan sent 3 assassins to assassinate Ning Fan, they naturally had the intention to kill him. If the clan leader of the Baili clan already knew that Ning Fan would not be killed by the 3 assassins, why would he send the 3 assassins to their deaths? The wisest move would be to send stronger cultivators to kill Ning Fan instead of taking the unnecessary step of leaving a second battle invitation. What was the meaning of this second battle invitation? Could it be that he wanted to show off to Ning Fan again, telling him that if the Baili clan wants to kill him, he should just wash his neck and wait for his death? As the leader of the clan, would the clan leader of the Baili clan do such a brainless thing? The actions of the clan leader of the Baili clan were extremely illogical. Ning Fan kept the second battle invitation and his eyes narrowed slightly. There was something strange about this Baili clan. It seemed like the Baili clan did not simply want to kill him. Instead, they seemed to be plotting something, the reason why the clan leader of the Bailey clan sent out 2 unreasonable battle invitations in succession seemed to be to purposely arouse Ning Fan's suspicion. Instead of saying that it was a threat, it was more like he was hinting at something interesting. I would like to see what exactly the Bailey clan is plotting against me. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth curled upwards. He was not afraid of the Bailey clan at all. He had the 5 elements heavenly tribulation puppet, Luo Yu and Ting Xianrou's help and Emperor Xia's sword. In the tree world, other than the 3 tree sovereigns, Ning Fan was not afraid of any other cultivators. Qi Ning Fan's figure flashed and turned into a ray of light, flying towards the capital of the Muyi country. The Muyi country was a few times bigger than an ordinary void-grade cultivation country. There were a total of more than 400 cultivation cities in the country. There were more than 300 members of the Tree clan residing in the country. Among them, there were a total of 23 Tree clans that had Void Refinement Realm experts. As for the Tree clan that had Great Void Refinement Realm experts, there were a total of 7 of them. The Bailey clan was the strongest clan in the Muyi country. Of course, the force that was even stronger than the Bailey clan was the Bamboo Hall. In the Bamboo Hall, other than the Bamboo Sovereign, there were also the 8 elders of the Bamboo Forest. All of them were Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters, and Old Demon Fusang was one of them. The main hall of the Bamboo Hall was located in the Jishui city of the Muyi country. Ning Fan flew all the way, passing through countless cultivation cities. Finally, he stopped outside the Jishui city. It was a city that was rarely seen in the tree world. The area within 1 million li was covered with a green water body. It was called Jishui City. Countless gigantic Xiang Fei bamboos stood in the water body. According to legends, Jishui City was the place where the bamboo ancestor passed away. The Xiang Fei bamboos that grew in the water body were all transformed from the bamboo ancestor's soul. In the sky above the water body, there was a floating city that was enshrouded in green qi. It was none other than Jishui City. At this moment, the Bamboo Sovereign had already issued an order to the entire tree world, summoning all the pill refinement masters in the world to come to Muyi country to treat the ancestral bamboo. Traveling lights could be seen flying towards Jishui City at any time in the sky. Most of them were famous pill refinement masters in the tree world who had come to treat the ancestral bamboo. Most of these pill refinement masters belonged to the Eastern Tree Sea. Of course, there were also pill refinement masters from the Northern, Western and Southern Tree Seas. During this period of time, the entrance inspection of Jishui City had become extremely strict. Other than 5th Revolution pill refinement masters who had the right to enter the city directly, even absolute void stage cultivators had to go through a strict inspection before they were allowed to enter the city. Ning Fan pondered inwardly. Since the Eastern Tree Sea was summoning pill refinement masters from all over the world, many cultivators from other tree seas had entered the Eastern Tree Sea. He was not sure if the Vine Sovereign's subordinates had followed the crowd and entered the Eastern Tree Sea to assassinate him. Moreover, the Vine Sovereign's subordinates might have already infiltrated Jishui City and were waiting to kill him. If that was the case, he needed to be more cautious during his trip to Jishui City. Ning Fan stepped on the traveling light and flew towards the city in the sky. As soon as he arrived outside the city gate, a group of guards wearing bamboo armors immediately blocked his way with their spears. "Stop right there. Except for 5th Revolution pill refinement masters who can enter the city directly, all cultivators who enter the city will have to undergo the inspection of our bamboo hall to verify their identities." The weakest of the guards was a soul formation cultivator, and their leader was a great void stage old monster. This person's gaze was extremely arrogant, and his status in the bamboo hall was not low. He was a descendant of the bamboo hall's 3rd elder. He was sitting high above the city gate tower of Jishui City, and he was not even willing to personally go down to the city to receive Ning Fan. How arrogant! Even though he could sense Ning Fan's hidden absolute void qi, he did not intend to accommodate him. He did not have the intention to let Ning Fan enter the city directly. This time, Bamboo Emperor was recruiting alchemists from all over the world. Many great void old monsters came to Jishui City to join in the fun. There were great void old monsters coming to Jishui City every day. The higher the cultivation base of an old monster, the more strict the identity check would be to prevent these people from sneaking into Jishui City and causing trouble. This was the order of the third elder of Bamboo Palace. Your cultivation isn't weak, but as long as you're not an alchemist, you must allow us to verify your identity. Commander Tai Su said coldly. I am a pill refinement master. The reason why I came to Jishui this time is to treat Zhu Zhu. Ning Fan replied indifferently. Oh. You're a pill refinement master. In that case, let's test the level of your pill refinement mastery on this soul steel. If your pill refinement mastery has reached the 5th revolution, you can enter Jishui City directly. I won't stop you then. When Commander Tai Su heard that Ning Fan was a pill refinement master, he stood on the city gate tower and pointed at a gigantic 6-colored ancient steel outside the city gate. This 6-colored ancient steel could test one's pill refinement mastery from the 1st to the 6th revolution. The highest one could test one's mid-grade 6th revolution pill refinement mastery. Ning Fan did not say much. He slowly approached the 6-colored ancient steel and placed his palm on it. Immediately, he felt a mysterious feeling of his medicine soul merging with the steel. He did not plan to conceal his high-grade 6th revolution pill refinement mastery after entering Jishui City this time. Even though he was an absolute void stage cultivator, absolute void stage cultivators were just ants in the eyes of void fragmentation realm old monsters like the Bamboo Emperor. However, if the void fragmentation realm old monsters in the Bamboo Palace knew that his pill refinement mastery had reached the 6th revolution and it was even a high-grade 6th revolution pill refinement master, no one would dare to underestimate him. A low-grade 6th revolution pill refinement master already had a status that even void fragmentation realm cultivators would have to bow down to. As for a high-grade 6th revolution pill refinement master, even the Bamboo Emperor would not dare to underestimate him. The reason why the Bamboo Emperor was polite to Ning Fan when they were in the thinking sifting bamboo sea that day was because he could vaguely see that Ning Fan possessed a 6th revolution pill refinement master. However, in the Bamboo Emperor's eyes, Ning Fan was just a low-grade 6th revolution pill refinement master at most. Therefore, even though he was polite to Ning Fan, his tone was still very indifferent. Even when he promised to give Ning Fan the tree ancestor fruits, he used a casual tone. Even though there aren't enough tree ancestor fruits in the Bamboo Palace for me to attain the 1st grade rain intent, the more tree ancestor fruits I obtain, the closer I will be to attaining the 1st grade rain intent. In order to obtain more tree ancestor fruits from the Bamboo Emperor, the first thing I need to do is to gain enough attention from the Bamboo Emperor. If the Bamboo Emperor knows that my pill refinement mastery has reached the high-grade 6th revolution, he certainly won't look down on me anymore. If I ask him for more tree ancestor fruits, he probably won't reject me. Huff Ning Fan's body suddenly emitted an extremely strong medicine soul aura force. In the vast sky outside Jishui City, countless black butterflies suddenly appeared. Many pill refinement masters from the tree world who had just arrived outside Jishui City wore astonished expressions when they saw the black butterflies coiling around Ning Fan's body. The great Void Realm commander who was arrogant just now also wore a shocked expression when he saw the black butterflies that filled the sky. These black butterflies are formed by the medicine soul power. Could it be that this man is actually a 6th revolution pill refinement master? As if to prove everyone's speculation, layers of colors on the 6-colored ancient steel lit up one after another. 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors and 6 colors. When 6 colors were lit up, it meant that the person who came was a 6th revolution pill refinement master. My tone just now was not friendly. Please forgive me, Grandmaster. You are a 6th revolution pill refinement master and you can directly enter Jishui City. The great Void Realm commander immediately walked down the city gate tower. He no longer wore his arrogant expression. He cupped his fists at Ning Fan and showed a rare polite expression. He could be arrogant toward the great Void Realm commander who was at the same level as him, but he did not dare to be arrogant toward a 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. Every 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master was qualified to be a distinguished guest of a Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monster. Just as he was about to personally lead the way for Ning Fan to enter the city to rest, something happened to the 6-colored ancient steel all of a sudden. The 6th color on the ancient tablet became brighter and brighter. In the end, the entire ancient tablet was like a 6-colored rainbow, emitting a dazzling light that shot into the sky. This phenomenon would only appear when a mid-6th Revolution Pill Refinement Master was testing his Pill Refinement Mastery. What? This Grandmaster is not only a 6th Revolution Pill Master but also a mid-6th Revolution Pill Master. Commander Great Void was even more shocked now. In the 4 seas of trees, there were a total of 15 6th Revolution Pill Masters. Among them, there were 7 low-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters, 5 mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters and 3 high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters. Could it be that Ning Fan is one of the 5 mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters in the tree world? He had never met all of the 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters before. Thus, he did not know which of the 5 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Masters Ning Fan was. While he was thinking, the 6-colored ancient tablet changed again. All of a sudden, huge cracks appeared on the surface of the ancient tablet. In the end, the entire ancient tablet exploded and turned into countless pieces of rubble. The 6-colored ancient tablet was broken. In the sky above the entire Jishui city, 6-colored clouds suddenly appeared. All the cultivators in the city could see the colorful clouds. There was only one explanation for this. Ning Fan's Pill Refinement Mastery had exceeded the highest limit that the ancient tablet could test. This Grandmaster is actually a high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Master. There were only 3 Pill Refinement Masters of this level in the tree world. Even the Bamboo Sovereign would not dare to neglect a Pill Refinement Master of this level. Outside the city gates, all the cultivators who witnessed the destruction of the ancient tablet revealed a shocked expression. Everyone looked at Ning Fan with deep respect as if they were looking at a Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monster. Now, can I enter Jishui City? Ning Fan gave Commander Tai Su a meaningful look. Commander Tai Su forced a smile and said politely, "Grandmaster's Pill Refinement Mastery is outstanding. Of course, you can enter and leave Jishui City as you wish. However, may I be so bold as to ask what Grandmaster's name is? Which one of the 3 high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters in the tree world are you?" Ning Fan had always addressed himself with the surname Lu. This was the only thing that puzzled Commander Tai Su. Among the low-grade 6th Revolution and mid-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters in the tree world, there were 2 brothers with the surname Lu. However, none of the 3 high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters had the surname Lu. "I am from the Ming Luo clan. My name is Liu Bei." As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he walked into Jishui City, leaving behind the astonished cultivators outside the city. Liu Bei. Moreover, he is from the declining Ming Luo clan. This Grandmaster is actually not one of the 3 high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Masters. He is the 4th Pill Refinement Master in the tree world who possesses high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Refinement Mastery. This Grandmaster's name sounds a little familiar. Liu Bei. Liu Bei. Wait, I remember now. This person's name and appearance are obviously the devil cultivator that the Vine Sovereign is chasing after. I came from the Northern Tree Sea and I have seen this person's wanted order with my own eyes. What? This Grandmaster is actually the devil cultivator that the Vine Sovereign is chasing after? Ning Fan ignored the discussions of the crowd and walked into Jishui City alone. The moment he stepped into the city, he immediately sensed countless obscure spirit scents sweeping towards him. Obviously, the fluctuation of his Pill Refinement Mastery test had startled many old monsters in the city. In the vast sky, an agarwood chariot approached him from afar. It was pulled by 2 green divine bulls. There were 12 children standing on the chariot and an elderly man with green pupils sitting at the center. That elderly man's aura force was very restrained. He vaguely gave off the aura force of a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. The chariot landed in front of Ning Fan. The elderly man got off the chariot with a smile and cupped his fists at Ning Fan politely. I am the third elder of the Bamboo Palace. Under the order of the Bamboo Sovereign, I have come here to welcome fellow Daoists to the Bamboo Palace to meet him. This time, the Bamboo Sovereign had witnessed Ning Fan's pill refinement mastery. His attitude was no longer as cold as before. The Bamboo Sovereign had even sent the third elder who was at the Void Fragmentation Realm to personally welcome Ning Fan into the Bamboo Palace. His respect for Ning Fan could be seen from this. This was the status of a high-grade 6th Revolution Pill Master. Even the Bamboo Sovereign had to treat him as a distinguished guest. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.